getting nasty on a Monday. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Andrew Marsh, Carey Davis, and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. 203, your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Hope everybody had a nice 4th of July weekend. If you're watching the Cardinals and Cubs, at least on Friday and
yesterday.
Let's
talk about good things, Anthony.
Saturday. They won Saturday.
That's a good win.
Yeah.
Saved the series from being a disaster, I guess.
Saved the season, what'd you say?
Saved the series from being a disaster. I wouldn't say saved the season. Yep.
Kind of.
So everybody's talking about the obvious, which is Mikolas and Fedde. Here's my takeaway. How can you claim that this season is about development if you keep Mikolas and Fedde in the starting rotation? How can you say that this season...
Okay, can I be that guy just for a second?
Yeah, sure.
Just for a second, and don't verbally assault me here. I'm just going to play something out in my mind here, pretending I'm the Cardinals front office. I know it's a dangerous place to be in, Carey. I know. You're going into the season. You have a lot of uncertainties. Mm-hmm. You've talked about a transition to a younger team. However, a lot of question marks surrounding numerous young players. Gorman, Walker, and these are guys on your big league team.
Yeah.
McGreevy, not quite sure. Did a couple of games last year, but does that make you, are you sure he's ready? You're like, yeah. Then you have Graceffo. You also had Matthew Liberatore, who was a bullpen arm for you. So you're unsure there. The Cardinals say, we wanted him to come and compete for a spot, but a guarantee behind closed doors. I'm not sure he can do it. Mm-hmm. So therefore, you almost have to hang on to some arms that are serviceable for that moment.
Yeah.
Because he didn't know for sure that Liberatore was going to be what he is right now. And boy, do I like watching him pitch. Mm-hmm. I do. I find it great. And every time he pitches well, I actually feel really good for the guy, for all the crap that he's had to hear about the Rosarena trade and all that stuff. Randy Rosarena is still a great player. But at least now the Cardinals have a number 2 in their rotation. So I'm happy for Matthew Liberatore as I veer off the course here a little bit. Mm-hmm. But you needed some certainty in your rotation. And what I mean by certainty is just guys who played in the league before. Now, where they've screwed up is they've held on so darn tight now. Knowing McGreevy is a full-time arm at this point. Right now is when the switch has to happen. I'm not saying both Fedde and Mikolas DFA'd, moved, bought out, whatever. Call it whatever you want, because you're not going to be able to trade them.
Yeah. Not
for anything worth of value, that's for sure. And nobody wants them right now, probably. Just saying. So for me, it's McGreevy time, and somebody goes to the bullpen, and then you kind of figure it out from there. You swap Mats to put him back in the rotation. But to start the season, as I go back to where I started this, I see where their thought process was at.
To start the season, sure. But now that things have changed, and
you have information now.
You have information. I think we can all agree that you can't continue to call this a developmental year for a lot of players and not bring up Michael McGreevy immediately.
I agree.
Now, I realize he was a disaster on Saturday, but the kid has pitched very well in Memphis. Save for Saturday's performance, where he gave up a bunch of runs. It was like the worst timing, because as Mikolas was getting destroyed, unfortunately, so was McGreevy pitching for the Redbirds.
Yeah, but that's going to happen to every pitcher.
His season has been very good. To me, and Carey, I don't know if you disagree, but if you're all about runway for young players, this is July 7th now. You can't continue to pitch Mikolas and not bring up McGreevy and continue to tell your fan base that this is all about, youth movement, development.
So, for me, your question was, how can you claim the season is about development and keep those two in the lineup? This is the problem that this should have happened 2 years ago. Should have happened probably in 2023. Right? We should have started this then. But the notion for the Cardinals is year after year we talk about the flex seal. We're gonna put some flex seal on it and it'll be better. We'll get the guy. We'll get it better. It'll be okay. But you run into the same problem over and over again. When you are in leadership, you have to make decisions that everyone is not going to like. That's part of being a leader. Your job is not to appeal to the masses. It's to make sure your team, your product, your group of people, whatever it is is headed and trending in the right direction. The worst thing that happened to this team was having success, because it lulled you into, oh my God, we can actually win. Being 2 games out of the division, oh my God, we can actually win the division. When in actuality, people always talk about, oh, you got to look at the numbers. The numbers tell the story. Well, the numbers have told you that Fedde and Mikolas, for their careers, have not been outstanding or great pitchers. That's what the story has told you. But this notion, for some reason, because they do have good outings sporadically, oh, yeah, we're good now. No. What you have is what you've always had. And now you're looking at it like, well, I can't believe you did that. What's the problem? Mm-hmm. It's like being in a relationship with someone that mistreats you. And then they treat you well for a little bit, and then they go back to mistreating you. Well, what did you expect? They've given you a track record of who they are. When people show you who they are, you should believe them. Not the outlier, not the good times. Look at the entire picture. And so we are here, and the people are frustrated. But why are you frustrated? This is why you all look at me like I'm crazy. Well, you got to no. I don't believe I was not getting on that damn roller coaster, Jamie.
You didn't get off it either, though,
I
Carey.
didn't get on it.
You didn't get off of it,
never got on it.
You said right here in the middle. You weren't on, you weren't off.
I sat on the bench that didn't move and watched everyone else get on. and go
you didn't walk away.
No, I just sat there. I was waiting on the good times to come back around, to come around to believe. And I just, watching that series, it's frustrating.
So here's what I'll say about this, as I just pulled this up because I was curious. If you were going to give the word runway to either Fedde or Mikolas, it probably would have been Mikolas. Now, I understand his body of work in the last couple of years, not great, but he was an all-star in 2022. He pitched for the National League All-Star team. I know Corbin Burns was out. He was his replacement, but he still was selected. Was anybody else in the Cardinals good enough to make that game? Probably not. It wasn't a great year. But I'm just saying, he has 2018 and 2022, he was a National League All-Star. Eric Fedde, 2 years ago, was in Japan because he pitched his way out of Major League Baseball. Came back, had a good three-quarter season with the White Sox. Again, I think it's just he was the best of the worst over there in Chicago. And then he came, he was fine for the Cardinals to finish the year. But to just let this keep going and just bleeding this team, you've got 2 almost throwaways right now. And Andre Pallante, he pitched well the last time. He's working, but that's just what Pallante is. So to have Sonny Gray and Matthew Liberatore be your guys in the rotation and nothing else, there's no way you're a playoff team unless you correct this immediately.
Fedde drives me more crazy because Fedde was terrible with Washington. Like you noted, Jamie, he was dreadful with Washington. He gets chased out of Major League Baseball. He winds up pitching overseas. He winds up being a reclamation project for the White Sox. The White Sox are the only team that has benefited from taking a chance on Eric Fedde. They had a half a season of Fedde. They signed him to a nothing deal, basically. Got a half a season that was excellent out of him and sold him high. And the Cardinals bought high.
Yep.
The Dodgers benefited off of that trade.
And the Dodgers benefited too.
The Dodgers, once again, at the top of the food chain on that one.
So Fedde, who fooled some people for a half a season, including Mo, is now worthless for you as an asset. Because you really can't move him now. Your depth isn't good. And now what? You can't. His value is nothing.
DFA him.
You're going to have to DFA him. Which, fine.
If you can DFA Madison Bumgarner, you can DFA Eric Fedde.
Yeah.
If the Arizona Diamondbacks can DFA Madison Bumgarner, why can't you DFA Eric Fedde? And throw Miles Mikolas in there, too. I cannot take this team seriously with these 2 guys in your starting rotation. I can't.
So who's your replacements, okay? McGreevy, obvious choice. I think when Fedde's... I think already Oli Marmol has shown his cards as far as what he's going to be doing here for Fedde's next start. I think that McGreevy will come up from Memphis. Eric Fedde will go on some kind of IL stint. Something's bothering him. pick your spot. What's bothering you? That's bothering you for the next 7 to 10 days. Mikolas, I don't know what you do there. Do you swap him and Steven Matz? Like, is Steven Matz wow you more than Miles Mikolas?
If you want to make an instant move, that's the instant move. McGreevy up and Steven Matz to the rotation. That's the instant move. Yeah. If you want to slow play it a little bit, Mikolas gone, McGreevy up, and then you wait to see for 3 starts or 2 starts, whatever it is, if Fedde has any sort of value.
Who do you think is hurting the team more? If you had Eric Fedde and Miles Mikolas, and I told you only one of those guys can stay in your rotation, but you have to pick one of them.
I would pick Fedde.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Yeah.
To stay? Watch Miles Mikolas.
Miles Mikolas is throwing batting practice. I mean, they're both throwing batting practice, but Miles Mikolas.
This is real Stalter's choice. That's what it is.
What are we doing?
Nobody wins with this, but
Eric
if I have
Fedde's
to
given up
choose
like
somebody,
20 plus runs in the last 3 starts.
Miles Mikolas gave up 6 home runs.
I understand
throw the
that.
ball over the heart of the plate, and literally the Cubs just said, "Okay, this is how you want to pitch." Okay. This can't, like, at some point, they probably were in the dugout like, dude, this can't be serious. This can't be real.
After the 4th home run, if I'm Miles Mikolas, I think I'm pitching at every guy that comes to the plate until they throw me out of the game. Like, if Oli won't take me out, I'm ejecting myself.
it's pathetic.
I know.
It's pathetic.
Do you think, honestly, I know when we're going to get into this more later on, I just don't know where, there's zero trade value. Just put zero.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, at least 3 starts ago, Miles Mikolas only gave up 2 runs in 5 innings, and then the start before that, 2 runs through 6 innings. Like, Eric Fedde's been horrible. They've both been bad.
I mean, to justify, they've both been terrible.
Terrible. I can't take the team serious.
These two guys cannot be pitching for a wild card contender or a team that is supposed to be in a developmental year. Period. Move on. All right. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Can we definitively say that the Cardinals aren't on the Cubs' level? Kind of a catch-22 situation there. That's next on 101 ESPN. Auto Centers Nissan's got their Wiggity's Hot Lot blowout going on right now. They've got over 1,000 vehicles all in one location, right off I-55 in Herculaneum. So no hunting across 5 lots, no games, just straight up deals. And right now, 0% APR for 60 months, 0 down, and no payments for 3 months on 2025 Rogues, Pathfinders, and Muranos, all built right here in the U.S. of A. And I speak from experience. I love the 2025 Murano from Auto Centers Nissan, man. It's a sweet ride. Redesigned exterior, redesigned interior. It's sleek. The technology is user-friendly. I love it. It's a great ride. But if you need more space for you and the family, you'll love the convenience of the 3rd row that comes with the Pathfinder. If you're looking for, a safe, reliable vehicle that gets great gas mileage, can't go wrong with the 2025 Rogue. If you're looking at used cars, Auto Centers has 0 down and no payments for 3 months. And remember, at Auto Centers Nissan, every new vehicle comes with dealer pricing, a lifetime warranty, and a 30-day return promise. Inventory's hot, deals are hotter, but it all blows out soon, so these offers won't last. Head out to Herculaneum or check them out online. Visit AutoCentersNissan.com. But when you head out to Herculaneum, tell them Stalter sent you. It's Auto Centers Nissan. Can we definitively say that the Cardinals aren't on the Cubs level after they dropped 2 of 3 over the weekend at Wrigley Field? It's Fast Line on 101 ESPN. Here's the interesting part, guys. We've seen 7 games, 4 at Busch Stadium, 3 at Wrigley Field. And the Cubs have taken 4 of those games. But when it comes to the series, both series, the Cubs didn't face Sonny Gray. So you had to throw a couple of guys that, as we just covered in the first segment, we'll cover throughout the course of the show, have been dreadful. Yeah, Sonny Gray didn't pitch in either series. So the Cardinals could have easily taken 4 out of those 7 games. So where do you guys fall on this, though? Because isn't that kind of the point? If Sonny Gray would have pitched, maybe you would have won one more game.
Maybe not.
But your depth is this bad, too, though. And I think that speaks to the bigger issue.
Well, for me, the bigger issue is this. Pete Crow Armstrong, Seiya Suzuki, Kyle Tucker, Michael Busch. Those are, right now, those guys are studs. Mm-hmm. Not to mention they've got a great little backup there who used to be a stud, Dansby Swanson, still a pretty good baseball player. Their lineup has a bunch of dudes. Who on the Cardinals? Brendan Donovan, great. Going to the All-Star game, congratulate. He earned every bit of that. But after that, who's your next wow guy?
I mean, your biggest wow guy's on IL.
That's okay, but he's not playing right now.
Right.
But do you have a Pete Crow Armstrong? Take his personality out of it, whether you love him or hate him or not. Pretty damn good ball player.
Yes.
Seiya Suzuki is absolutely murdering baseballs this year. You don't have that in your lineup currently. Mm-hmm. You don't have Kyle Tucker in your lineup currently. And this Michael Busch kid, I don't think you have that in your lineup either.
Right.
So I don't think the Cardinals are on the same level as the Cubs. And then if we want to go one step further, we go to the rotation. We've just declared today that the Cardinals really, truly only have 2 real starters. Palante's a 5th. Mm-hmm. But you're missing that 3-4.
Right.
It's a huge gap.
I agree with Jamie. I think that there is a huge gap. Yes, the numbers will show you that the Cardinals took 3 of the 7 games, which is 3 to 4. That's fine. That's not terrible. But I think when you look at it, the Cubs are plus 21 in the series thus far. They are beating the hell out of you when they are beating the hell out of you. Cardinals had a good game in game 1 here where they won 8-0, I believe, and then they won 8-7. And then from that point on, it's just been the Cubs beating them up at the plate.
Yes.
Michael Busch, somebody should do what?
Can we offer sheet him?
Please. What are we doing?
Army, get on
we
it.
can't, Doug Armstrong.
He was outstanding in that series. So for me, I think Jamie hit the nail on the head too. When you look at the rotation, I think that the Cubs rotation, Matthew Boyd is an all-star. He pitched really well. Shota is just getting back from injury. They got some other guys that are injured as well. They aren't completely healthy in their rotation, but their pitchers are still better than our rotation, in my opinion. So, if those guys are coming back healthy, I don't think it's even as close as this has been. And it ain't been close.
Yeah, I think the biggest gap. I mean, Jamie, you're not wrong about the offense, but I think the biggest gap is in the starting rotation between these two teams. I mean, that's the overwhelming difference between the two teams. The Cardinals offense has been inconsistent, but we've also seen them win games that they probably should have been out of, including the game on Saturday, because of their offense. But this starting rotation for the Cardinals is awful, and they've been healthy too. That's the other nagging part. They've been healthy. This is the 5 guys you chose.
Yeah.
And they've been healthy. Yeah. And two of them
I feel like that's
have been
going to
awful.
change.
Well, phantom injury. I want to say this real quick, March, before you go. Watching that series this weekend, it left me angry inside. It did, because I'm watching. I am accustomed, growing up as a Cardinals fan, watching the Cubs games. I'm okay with the Cubs having sellouts and the entire stadium being packed and they showing up for Cardinal Cub games. But when you flip it and look at Busch Stadium, it ain't the same. And so there was a little bit of envy from me, watching that series and watching those Cubs fans, how excited they are about their team in comparison to how unexcited Cardinal fans generally have been for the last few years about their team at a Cubs game. Like it is night and day, and it was great for, I'm sure, Cubs fans. I got a lot of friends. I went to U of I got a lot of friends from Chicago that are Cub fans. That to me it pained me to see it because of the comparison of what what Busch Stadium has looked like for these last 2 years. It's to me, it's very frustrating.
Going back to your pitcher comment, and I completely agree with you, Carey. The pitching aspect of this, like Matthew Boyd, right? He's carved you up twice now.
Yeah.
That guy is no, Cy Young type pitcher, but the Cubs went out and found him after a good year in Cleveland. That's the stuff that the Cardinals are not doing.
Correct. Yeah, Matthew Boyd. There was a couple of times where Matthew Boyd was put on the trade block in Detroit, and the Cardinals, I don't know if they expressed any sort of interest in him, but eventually had a couple of rough years and then bounced around, and now he's an all-star this season.
You talk about taking
fantastic.
Flyers on certain players.
Absolutely.
Like the Cubs took a flyer on him after a good year with Cleveland, and he's been fine. He's been good.
It's the Milwaukee blueprint. Milwaukee's blueprint has been, hey, we're gonna have our core group of players, we're gonna have our studs, and we're gonna fill in with guys that will be on 1 or 2 year deals, so they're not gonna kill us. Some of them are gonna be reclamation projects from a performance standpoint. Others are gonna be from like an injury standpoint. Rhys Hoskins is the injury example. This is what the Brewers have done. This is what savvy organizations have done. What the Cardinals have done is they've had their core, which hasn't really been good enough, and they've filled in with guys like Lance Lynn for 1 year. Guys that are not reclamation projects, guys that are just flat out at the end of their career. Hanging on. They fill them out with that guy. Or roll it back again with Miles Mikolas because they're paying him $20 million.
And to your point, Carey, do you blame Cardinal fans for not showing up and being like what the Cubs have experienced this year?
No, it's exciting to go watch a Cubs game at Wrigley Field. I'm sure it was. I'm certain it was exciting because that environment was outstanding. I was in Chicago on Friday. I told you all I was at the beach. They were supposed to have fireworks at Navy Pier. I guess they canceled it. They had to send all of the fireworks to Wrigley Field because all the damn home runs they were hitting. Navy Pier couldn't even have fireworks on the 4th of damn July.
Carey.
Thanks, Cards. All the kids out there at Navy Pier waiting on fireworks. No damn fireworks at Navy Pier. They're all at Wrigley Field. They ran out after the 3rd or 4th home run.
That's what Carey's really mad at.
You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. It's fun. It was fun for Cubs fans. Not so much for Cardinals fans until Pozo hit that shot. Then you had something to cheer about. That's the only thing you cheered about all damn weekend. One home run.
It was a hell of a shot.
It was a hell of a shot. Now, I would tell you that.
NY says Boyd had a 5 ERA in his time with Detroit, acting like the Cardinals should have gotten him. Just toggled on me. Would have been ridiculous. I didn't say the Cardinals should have gotten him in Detroit. I was painting the picture of him struggling Detroit.
He was good last year.
Having an opportunity. He was on the trade market for a little while and then bounced around. He had rough years. I didn't say the Cardinals should have gotten him. I painted the picture of where he eventually got to.
Some of that is luck, too. Like, people have to understand that other teams are taking flyers, too. Other teams have their version of Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson every year that they're taking a chance on. A reclamation project of someone who has shown signs of, being good in the past, a couple of bumps in the road. You're trying to fill out your rotation. You need an extra arm because of injuries. And then every now and then, those fillers, they work out. Okay, he gets with a new pitching coach or gets healthy and all of a sudden has a season like Boyd's having this year. So it's not always like, you Cardinals could have had this guy. Everybody has their Lance Lynn, their version of like that type of player every year.
Well, and I brought up Cleveland.
What I'm saying is Matt Boyd at some point was a commodity.
Yeah.
And then struggled. Yeah, I agree in terms of like it does take luck, but what the Cardinals have done, forget Matthew Boyd. It's more the idea of Matthew Boyd and the idea of Lance Lynn. The Cardinals will go for safe every single time, and then it'll backfire on them.
When
They'll
did
get
they
exactly what they pay for. There's no savvy to it. That's all.
When did they extend Miles? Was it after the 2022 season?
I believe it was, but I can look that up.
Because if so, it's justifiable. it's justifiable. He had an okay season.
They paid him, signed a 3-year deal in, let's see, I think it was 2022.
So I'm willing to overlook that a little bit based on the fact that he was coming off of a pretty good season in 2022. Mm-hmm. And the Cardinals probably thought to themselves, got a relatively okay priced pitcher here who's serviceable. He was eating innings at that point.
Yeah.
But, man, the drop-off has been rough.
Yes.
It has been very rough for Miles and the Cardinals. And I just don't know what you do now. Because neither of those players, if I'm out there on another team, I'm literally saying they have no trade value. I have no reason to trade for this guy. Why? So I can DFA him?
Yeah,
no, I'm good.
No, right.
I'll take him, but you're going to pay his contract. Mm-hmm. I'll give you a roster spot, but you're paying for this stuff because,
right.
I don't need it.
Right. They've got no value.
No.
All right, it's Fast on 101 ESPN. Jeremy Rutherford's offseason grade for the Blues is out, and we'll see if Jamie agrees or not. That's next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals dropped 2 of 3 to the Cubs over the weekend. They lose last night on Sunday Night Baseball, 11-0 to the Cubs. Eric Fedde, who started that game, only went 1 1/3. Somehow the Cardinals are 1 game back of the last wild card spot. They'll have tonight off, but then take on the Washington Nationals tomorrow. First pitch is at 6:45. Andre Palante will be on the mound for the Cardinals. We're going to switch gears here and talk some Blues hockey. Jeremy Rutherford had his offseason grade for the Blues. We'll see if Jamie agrees with it, and we'll get our thoughts as well. That's all coming up next right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Take a small break from bashing the Cardinals to talk about the Blues. Our guy, Jeremy Rutherford of The Athletic, has his off-season grade for the Blues. And, Jamie, we always like to give you a hard time about
you guys have painted me like
liking
I'm
his
anti-JR. I love JR.
So JR gave the Blues the offseason grade a B+.
Yeah.
Blues tried to do everything imaginable. They went after Noah Dobson, but he wanted to play in the East. They entertained the idea of trading Jordan Kyrou, but didn't find a good enough deal. They added young right-shot defenseman Logan Mailloux in a trade for Zach Bolduc. They added reliable vets, Pia Suter and Nick Bukestad, excuse me. In free agency, they put Nick Leddy on waivers, removed his $4 million cap hit when he was picked up by San Jose. His grade B would be an A if there wasn't concern about Bolduc's bright future, but you've got to give to get. So
yeah.
B+ is what you mean.
Yeah, I'm in and around there. I would have went A-, so we're splitting hairs a little bit. I just like to see the A. I don't think it's an A or an A+. A+ is, for spectacular season. I think last offseason was an A+ for Doug Armstrong. When you get Broberg and Holloway, offer sheet them, do all that stuff, like that was, you're moving mountains at that point. I like what Army's done. Look, this was not, I think Blues fans, I think they understand. If they don't, they need to understand this was not an easy offseason. If you look at the free agent market that was available, it was thin. Super thin. Sam Bennett was going to be the big draw. He re-signed with Florida. John Tavares, he still got miles on those tires, right? He does. Probably going to score 25 again this year, maybe be a 60-point guy. He re-signed with Toronto at a massive discount. Who else were you looking at that point? Mikael Granlund. He signed 3 years at $7 schmil a pop. No thanks. No, I'm happy for him. I ain't paying that guy $21 million. So kudos to Army and Steiner and the rest of the crew for not biting on some of these things. Like, just to make it happen, they got creative. Again, Army got creative. Once again, last year was the offer sheet stuff. This year, people were so blank and scared of the offer sheet. They were like, Army's somewhere lurking around a corner with an offer sheet here for somebody. So much so that even Army went out and declared that, go ahead and try an offer sheet Hofer. We're going to take care of this early. And he did. So he wraps up his future goaltender, I think the future number one. Mm-hmm. He goes and gets Pius Suter, but by the way, it's Pius.
Pius.
What?
Not Pius?
No, it's Pius.
Pius.
I did some investigative journalism.
Good job.
Pius Suter. So you get that center ice position that you wanted without overpaying. In fact, there's people in Vancouver that are freaking out right now. They said, how did the Canucks not offer him $4 million? There's two sides to that story right now. Pius Suter, I don't think, wanted to go back to Vancouver. There's a bit of an ish show going on in Vancouver, and I don't know if Vancouver offered him that money or not, but league-wide, people are impressed that Army got him for that price tag because he's so good all around. Mm-hmm. I mean, the guy even got Selke votes this year. So you're bringing another really responsible forward. Yes, you gave up Zach Bolduc. You did. Scored 19 goals for you here. Probably could have scored more, but what will he be moving forward? Is he going to be a perennial 25 to 30 goal scorer? I hope so. Love the kid. Talented kid. But again, if he's just a 15 to 20 goal scorer and Logan Mailloux comes in and a year from now or 2 years from now, he's logging 20 to 25 minutes a game, getting you 45 to 65 points a season, and he's laying guys out on the right side. And by the way, you've got him for the foreseeable future. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a wash,
right.
That deal. I think both sides win. Mm-hmm. So I think Army had a fantastic offseason with there being such a thin pool of talent out there. I think he's done good. And now, rumor has it the Blues are still in on Bo Byram. I haven't believed this from the very beginning at all. I still have a hard time wrapping my brain around it, but who knows? We'll see what happens.
Is he a fit?
Bo Byram?
Yeah.
I mean, he fits the profile of what Army's talked about. Young players under the age of 25 that can be an impact for this team and moving forward. And here's my thought. If you go and trade for a Bo Byram, I think Army then would exit the Cam Fowler extension talks.
Okay.
I think he would, because if you look at Byram and what he could project to be on a good team, it's pretty much what Cam Fowler is right now, but he's substantially younger than Cam Fowler. So you'd make that flip-flop next year where Byram would be paired with Parayko, potentially, Mailloux with Broberg. You still have Justin Falk with maybe Tyler Tucker, Matthew Kessel. Like, you're still very good. Lindstein's going to be playing in North America next year, so he might actually be able to, introduce himself to the NHL at some point.
Yeah.
But that would be the only thought of Army still being in on Byram.
So Byram is a restricted free agent with arbitration rights, expected to cost between $5 and $6 million annually on a short-term deal.
He wants $9 right now.
million.
Yeah.
On a long-term extension.
He wants $9 million right now, and the team Buffalo has elected to take the player to arbitration, which is rare.
Really?
But they did that to block offer sheet possibilities. Because they're taking him to arbitration, they're still legally holding his rights, so he cannot discuss offer sheets with other teams.
Any Blues fan that might be interested in buying him, you have to be comfortable with giving up Jake Neighbors and Dylan Holloway, and I don't think either of those guys.
I don't know. They're not doing that, that's for sure.
Because Buffalo's not interested.
Is that what they're projecting?
Yeah, Buffalo's not interested in picks or prospects. They want NHL-ready players.
Yeah.
So have fun in Buffalo.
Yeah.
I would say that's why you're out on that one. I'm not giving away Holloway or Neighbors. Those guys are pillars to this team moving forward.
Agreed.
We don't know what Bo Byram really is. We don't know if he's an actual top 4 defenseman in the NHL yet. Mm-hmm. I know that those two guys are they're culture guys, and they're great hockey players. Yeah. No chance on making that deal.
It's fascinating on 101 ESPN. Marsh has got what's trending for us next. Well, we've all had bad remodeling projects. We're going with the wrong remodeling team. Remember that great deal you got on that kitchen remodel, and then all of a sudden turned into 6 months of dust and delays, a design that looks like it belongs in another planet? You got to go with my friends at Mosby Building Arts. None of that's going to happen under Mosby Watch. If your family's been through remodeling regret, again, you're not alone. But Mosby Building Arts, they are the right remodeling company. They listen to what you want, not what some designer thinks you should have. There's no surprise cost, no disappearing crews, just trustworthy people who treat your home like it's their own. I have experienced that with Mosby myself. In February, we had doors that were replaced in our little family room area that lead out to the patio, and there was causing those doors, the old doors, were causing water damage in. And Mosby was the only company that we had out that realized what the actual issue was with the water in the basement. It was coming from beyond the steps. No other companies, everybody's like, you replace the doors, you fix the problem. Mosby was the only company that said, nope, we got to get rid of these steps first. They even showed me where the leak was coming from after they removed the steps and said, look, this was your issue. So doors are not just doors when it comes to Mosby. It could, be flooring. It could be something, like I said, with the water damage in the basement. Mosby Building Arts to take care of all that for you, on top of making sure that your family is, comfortable with everything, but also it's done in a way where they treat your home like it's their own. Call Mosby Building Arts at 314-909-1800 or visit callmosby.com. Mosby Building Arts, the right remodeling company.
the first thing they told me was he's not going to do this one thing that's going to wow you, but when you play him enough, two things are going to happen. You're going to fall in love with him, and you're never want to take him out of the lineup. And that is absolutely true. From day one, just the overall, I think one of the best ways you can be described in this game is consistent, and that's exactly what you've done from day one, not only on the field and the way you prepare, but just your personality and the way you carry yourself and the value that you bring between the lines, but also in this clubhouse. So congratulations on being an all-star, man.
What are the hot topics in the sports world?
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
It's time to find out with
What's Trending, brought to you by Elite Comfort Experts. Heating and cooling with no gimmicks, just guarantees. EliteComfortExperts.com.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN with Anthony Stalter, Jamie Rivers, and Carey Davis. I'm Andrew Marsh, and it's time for What's Trending. You just heard Oli Marmol tell Brendan Donovan that he will be a Major League Baseball All-Star. He will represent the National League. So congratulations to Brendan Donovan for being one Cardinal. Made it to the All-Star game. Brendan Donovan deserves it, though, and if it wasn't for Brendan Donovan, where do you think this team would be right now?
I don't know if you survive April. April was bad. You have guys like Brendan Donovan in your clubhouse to make sure that everybody stays on track, everybody stays focused, everybody stays relatively optimistic and upbeat. You listen to our professional athletes and Carey and Jamie discuss about the locker room dynamics or the clubhouse dynamics in this case, and guys like Brendan Donovan are pivotal. Mm-hmm. So there's the on-field recognition, and this is what that recognition is, the All-Star Game appearance. But I think if you go beyond that, you talk about his contributions inside that clubhouse. Again, I don't know if you survive April, because April was rough.
Yeah. Look, you got a guy like Brendan Donovan on your team, and, you know, any glove you give him, he takes it and plays. In fact, a couple of years ago, not rumored, it was fact that he was going to be the backup catcher if they needed him to be for that game, because he had caught a few games somewhere, whatever. He's played first base, he's played second base, shortstop, third base, left field, right field. I don't think he's played center field yet. I could be wrong. But this guy does whatever you ask him to do. And you hear the things off the field. He's in the cage every day. He's working with the video guys. He's, presents the new guys for the first MLB game with a nice bottle of champagne and welcome to the majors. And you see him slowly taking over the clubhouse with his work ethic and the way he carries himself. We used to think of Ryan O'Reilly as like the Nolan Arenado comparison. I think Brendan Donovan's more of the Ryan O'Reilly type guy, always working on something, kind of quiet, off to his own thing, just leading by example every day, plays his bag off every single day, no matter what you ask of him. I couldn't be happier for this guy. He's, to me, I go back to it. Carey hates the idea, but I would want to lock this kind of a guy up. To me, this is a guy that you want representing your logo.
I don't hate the idea.
Carey,
I agree, Jamie.
Anthony, he's shot it down twice now.
He doesn't like it.
I was speaking from the Cardinals' perspective.
But you said it came out of your mouth, though, didn't it?
No, I was channeling my
inner
inner
did
Mo.
not come out of your mouth.
It did, but I wasn't me. I wasn't Carey speaking. I was John Mozeliak.
You're a professional to cooperate that for you, please.
No, I'm just telling you what I just told you. I told you what I said.
Carey, you should always be yourself.
I am.
Don't try to be anybody else.
That's all we want you to be.
We love
Right.
you the way you are.
I apologize. Pay the man. That's what Carey Davis says.
Okay.
Pay the man. Pay him.
Yes, Carey.
Now, if you ask the Cardinals, they're going to tell you, go fast lane yourself. I think Brendan Donovan is having the success he's having because he's playing one damn position, and it makes life easier. Like, when you come to the ballpark and know every single day where you're going to be penciled at in the lineup, I think this team, the good parts of this team, the parts that the offense, the lineup, in my opinion, has had success because guys know where they're batting, they know where they're playing. The part that has been troubling is the pitching from time to time, but the lineup has been pretty much consistent. Like, you're going to have some moments where you don't hit the ball well, where you don't get, score many runs, but the lineup has been good. And for Brendan Donovan to receive an honor of being an all-star, outstanding honor, probably should have been the starting second baseman, in my opinion. He's just been playing his butt off all year. God bless you, Anthony.
Thank you.
But again, it just comes back to the ability to know where I'm playing every single day.
Yeah.
I can be the best version of myself if I know what my job is every single day. When I'm guessing, when I'm, figuring out as I get to work, I think it changes things. So I think Brendan Donovan has been outstanding this year. It is well-deserved.
Guys, we saw this on X. I believe it was Swan who ended up tagging us in this goalie ranking fan vote from Jay Fresh Hockey on X. And I'm going to tell you where the Blues netminders rank in terms of the fan vote. Jordan Binnington is ranked 14th. Mm-hmm. That is one spot better than where he was ranked last year, which was 15th. And Joel Hofer is ranked 38th, 22 spots higher than what he was last season. Do you guys agree with where these two netminders are ranked in this little fan vote?
Well, the key, there's two words in this that are the key to all of this. Fan vote. There are a lot of people that cannot stand Jordan Binnington because of his antics. This guy, he's out there wanting to fight the players. He's waving his arms, swinging his stick at Kadri's head. And also, I hear it all the time. We see it on Twitter, all over social media. Jordan Binnington, man, I hate this guy. He's toxic. But you don't know the guy, first of all. One of the greatest dudes ever. I can tell you that. He's super calm, super well-spoken, intelligent, super dedicated to all this stuff. So the fact that it's a fan vote, I'm surprised he broke the top 20, to be honest. I think Jordan Binnington is a top 10 goalie in the NHL. And then when playoff comes around, I think he even goes higher than that. I think he's top 5 when playoffs are here.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. And all the antics and stuff like that, all those antics, does he have occasional bouts where you're like, okay. But they really, that's been a couple of years now.
He did one thing last year. I forget what it was, but I was okay.
But we can't even remember.
I was okay with it. Oh, he jumped on Corey Perry.
Yeah.
He did. I remember that.
Yeah. Corey Perry should have been
Guess what?
there.
I was okay with it.
Yeah. Hell out of my way.
It really wasn't. It hasn't been since Craig Berube. Because even Chief at one point was like, all right.
They told him to take it down everybody.
But that was several years ago.
But that was frustration, though, too. So,
sure.
So let's go back to that just for a second, because I think sometimes people need to understand that era of Blues hockey was frustrating. It was. The only guy that showed any pushback physically was Braden Shen, and that he was getting tired of doing it and getting sore and getting beat up. And so Jordan Binnington, who's an ultimate competitor, wanted this team to compete, and he wanted to fire up the team. And the only way he could do it is he couldn't make all the wonderful saves because they were getting 2 and 3 shots on goal at a time or backdoor tap-ins. So he was trying to elevate the team. Now you look at the way the team is constructed now, and you look at the damage physically that this team has done in the last half of the season, and specifically that Winnipeg Jets series. Like, if you're Jordan Binnington, you don't need to worry about that stuff anymore.
Right.
So that's why he went through that phase. 1, the team was not successful. 2, he was not successful as a goaltender. Didn't feel like he was anyways. And 3, there was some nights where there wasn't enough pushback.
Yeah. Go fast on yourself.
Me?
No, not you. Of course not. Absolutely
You were
not.
looking at me when you said it.
No, the ranking.
Looking right at you when you said it.
No, I actually wasn't.
Yeah, it's weird.
You guys twins now?
Now, can't you tell?
How do we get here with this starting rotation? More importantly, how do we make sure the Cardinals avoid it moving forward? What lessons can Chaim Bloom learn that John Mozeliak did not? That's next on 101 ESPN. 303, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. So the teeth gnashing continues about the Cardinals starting rotation, and why not? I mean, if you watch it over the weekend, really, I feel like we've reached the boiling point now. Not that people weren't upset before with the pitching staff, specifically with Miles Mikolas and Eric Fedde. It has been a slow boil here. But I do feel like we have reached that boiling point now with these guys. But the question is, how did we get here? And more importantly, how do they move forward? How does Bloom move forward? Because I don't, outside of bringing up McGreevy, which I do think should have happened already. And maybe if you want to replace both those guys, putting Steven Matz in the rotation, there's really nothing more you can do right now. But when it comes to the starting rotation, I do think part of the bigger issue is that you have two guys that were signed in Sonny Gray and there's two guys that signed. Sonny Gray was signed, and so was Miles Mikolas. He was a free agent. You have two guys that were trade acquisitions, Matthew Liberatore and Eric Fedde, and then you have one guy that you drafted and developed. And Jamie, you're right. I think Palante's more of a fifth when you get your rotation. And there's nothing wrong with that, but he's more of a 4 or 5 in your rotation if you want to be a contender, right? I think the biggest issue is that you have had to outsource for starting pitching. And I think the issue became your offense, that Mo became so hell-bent on drafting, developing position players, they almost went so far the other way. Because this organization had a rich history of pitching. It wasn't always drafted and developed. Adam Wainwright obviously came in from the Braves organization.
Carpenter. You get a lot of guys that we got from other places.
Yeah, but those guys were always like, you almost always had that next ace somewhere within your organization. And now you look at it, and at least two spots, if not 3, need to be blown up and start over.
You also had Dave Duncan and Yadier Molina.
That helps. That helps. But you don't anymore. So you have to figure out how you're going to supplement this starting rotation moving forward. I think you have to invest high draft picks in your starting pitching. Mm-hmm. If not, you're going to have to get savvy.
Well,
because they're not going to spend. They're not going to spend $250 million.
Hang on. All things considered, they're expecting Quinn Matthews to be a major leaguer here in the future.
Hopefully he is.
Tekoa Roby has had a very good season. So that's 2 guys right now. And then Connor Jerpy, don't know where he slots in. I think he's hurt right now.
What'd you call us?
You heard me. Okay? It's actually a compliment. Anyways, so you do have some guys that you're drafting and developing right now. McGreevy drafted, developed. Graceffo drafted, developed. What you don't have is like the Wiz up in Milwaukee or Skeens and things like that. Now, Skeens, obviously, Pittsburgh, they're so crappy they got a chance to pick him with a rather high pick. So it's a little bit of an unlevel playing field when it comes to that. But the point I'm making is you don't have, to my knowledge, I could be wrong, you don't have that young pitcher with so much, where the ceiling is so high.
Correct.
That where you're like, okay.
Yeah. At one point, the thought was maybe Tink Hence.
And he might still
be.
I think he's profiling more to be a bullpen arm at this point, based on what I'm hearing.
Oh, I hope not.
But I don't know. What?
Stop.
I know.
I don't want it out there.
Just tell you what I read, Anthony.
I want you to stop reading.
All right.
He's a closer.
A closer?
Oh, my gosh.
Tink?
Yeah.
Sure. That ain't what they said?
No.
Isn't that what he said?
They said the bullpen.
Closer. Damn closer.
What happened to starter?
Everybody can't start, Anthony.
Clearly not.
I don't think he can handle the innings. The thing, what I'm reading is he can't handle the innings. His stuff starts to...
So, make him a closer.
Stop.
Do you think the Cardinals look at like when they won the World Series and trying to replicate that type of thing? Like the 2006 rotation wasn't like fantastic, but he had Anthony Reyes starting game 1 of the World Series, and he shoved. Like he was awesome.
Who did you have hitting?
Well, absolutely. Like you had a good lineup.
Just asking.
But we're talking about
Why does
pitching.
that matter?
We're talking about pitching here. 2011 World Series, you didn't have the best rotation by any means, but you did have your ace, right? So the Cardinals, we just need the ace and we'll be fine. Like, well, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wonder if they're trying to do that, and they've been trying to do that.
Can we say that's been a mistake then? Like, it's an interesting point that you bring up. Can we now say that has been a mistake?
That would,
not investing in I mean, either in big dollars, which we know they won't, big dollars in pitching, or drafting and developing these guys. I know it takes time, but we've been here now where they just have not had a starting rotation of a contender. The closest, the easiest way, if you draw a straight line from where they're at now to being a legit contender again, it's starting pitching. So maybe it is Quinn Matthews, maybe it is McGreevy, maybe it is Liberatore taking another step. I don't know, but what I do know now, yes, Carey? Yep.
Yeah, we saw
in order for that to happen, guys got to get an opportunity. I've been saying that for 2 years, though. The guys he just mentioned.
Well, yeah, but they're not necessarily ready.
No. McGreevy is.
Well, yeah.
Cepho is.
You blocked McGreevy inadvertently.
Was it inadvertent?
Well, because...
Or was it intentional?
No.
It feels very intentional to me.
I'm going to go back to...
No, I think it was intentional because they needed depth at AAA. It was intentional.
Okay, I'm going to go back to what I said.
Sad is that comment, by the way.
Is that they didn't know that Liberatore was going to jump into that spot. If Liberatore doesn't jump into that spot, I think McGreevy probably gets it.
Yeah, but either way, then you're blocking Liberatore. Like you're blocking one of them.
Liberatore, no, you wouldn't be blocking Liberatore at that point because he wouldn't have earned it.
Well, Liberatore needed the opportunity that he got this year to tell him we're going to put you in the starting rotation. We're going to give you all the opportunities to succeed or fail. We're not going to pull you back and forth.
Same thing last year though too.
He wouldn't
spring training last year.
Because last year he was in the bullpen.
But he ended up in the bullpen based upon his lack of success in spring training.
But that's what I'm saying. You tell him we're going to give you give him an opportunity, a runway to fail. You have to have that opportunity to actually fail. Not, okay, you're starting to fail, I'm going to put you back in the bullpen. Like that's not a real opportunity. That gives a player kind of a false sense of, well, I don't know who I am, what do you want from me, what are you trying to get out of me?
Yeah.
And so I think this year they gave him a full runway and said, hey.
Well, and he also trained a lot different in the offseason. He talked about how he took it a lot more serious and he was really
because he was given clear direction of where he was going to be.
Or he was given an ultimatum.
Be
This is your last chance at this.
Splashback Deuce brings up a good point. He says, but Anthony, they admitted as much. They signed bridge deals to wait for young arms, for the young arms. You're right. It's frustrating now. We hope that they're going to be better, but Splashback Deuce, it's a really good point. It's a fair point.
We got a text from 314. The Cardinals treat prospects like toddlers. They give them a binky and tell them they need to grow. Then you have young studs killing it across the league.
Yeah, at some point you got to take the binky away. You do.
Yeah, and you just got to deal with it.
Yep.
How old were you when your binky was taken away?
I'm 43.
Just now?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just gave it up.
Just
now because you brought it up.
Wow.
I have no idea. Have you asked my parents? They have no idea either.
I don't know.
It's usually around 2 or 3. 2. Once you're like 2, you got the
2. Yeah, 2. You start thinking about it for sure.
I don't know. Like I don't remember. Like even pictures, I don't remember seeing it. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I think my parents didn't love me, maybe.
Just let you cry.
No, they allowed your brother to name you Barry. They loved you.
All this is starting to make sense now.
I asked my parents about anything about my childhood. They're like, I don't know. I can't remember. Like, were you around?
You are an only child, right?
What the hell? Yeah. Like one job.
I get things screwed up. I'll tell the whole story about one of the kids, and then the other kids will be like, that
was me.
Dad, that wasn't Braden. That was Ashton. Oh, okay. Well, at least I got part of it right.
Yeah. It's just me. Yeah, Lincoln's too. I know we cut him off at 2 because the way he had the binky in his mouth, his front tooth wasn't growing all the way. Yeah. And we're like, you're done.
Yep.
And as soon as we took it, within like a week, it started to drop.
Yeah.
We had Carson.
It's crazy.
Carson, our first.
Rotation.
And so
Way to bring it
You're
back.
more lenient with your first child.
Yeah.
And I remember Carson was pushing the age, and so we said we came up with this great idea. It's probably not really. I think we stole it from somewhere. The Binky Fairy was coming. Here's your last day, and when you wake up in the morning, the Binky Fairy is going to take your Binky. And the Binky Fairy did. Wow. And then we're like, okay. And then she always wanted to go to grandma's. Well, Shannon's mom's a wonderful lady, takes great care of our children, and used to spend so much time with Carson. And one time I go over to pick her up, and Carson's running around the house with a Binky in her mouth.
Binky Fairy made a trip.
Grandma's got like 25 different Binkies. I'm like, Grandma!
All right.
Carson was hiding them all over the house.
She did. She was hiding them.
Yeah,
It was like prison. She was hiding them, and then when we would leave, all of a sudden she'd be like underneath a thing or armoire. Binky. I'm like, what are we doing here? God.
All I heard was the Cardinals' young arms are like Lincoln's tooth.
Yep.
There we go.
Got to let them grow. Mm-hmm. But in order to let them grow, you got to take the Binky out.
We need the Binky Fairy to show up at Busch Stadium.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. All right. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. If this is it for the Blues, this is it. They don't do anything else. Where do they rank in the Western Conference? We'll tell you next on 101 ESPN. if the Blues didn't do anything else this offseason, where would they rank in the Western Conference? With Andrew Marsh, Carey Davis, and Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter. Jamie, you and Marsh have a good handle on with the Western Conference as a whole, Carey.
Carey.
So you would know better to answer that question about where the Blues rank if they don't do anything else.
Yeah.
I think everybody wants to know, is that they improve based on the rest of the Western Conference? Or are they just kind of right where they were at the end of the season last year? And, hey, that's okay, too, because you expect that some of these young players are going to get better and better and better.
Yeah, so the L.A. Kings...
What are they doing?
I don't know what the hell they're... Ken Holland, by the way, Ken Holland... I have nothing but respect for Ken Holland. He was an incredible general manager for many, many years in Detroit. Was the genius that brought me in for 3 years in Detroit.
Naturally.
Obviously, that was a big deal.
Yep.
Maybe some say his finest moment.
Helped win a cup.
It's very true. But I don't know what the hell he's doing right now. He's making LA older and slower, like immediately. So I don't see LA being in the same kind of spot next year. The Oilers, to be determined, man. I don't know if they've got it in them again. McDavid, Draisaitl, and Bouchard can only carry them so far for so long. Minnesota, I think they're going to be better. So this is a tough conference. The Jets are going to be good. The Golden Knights are going to be good. The Stars are going to be good. The Avalanche are going to be good. The Wild, the Blues, the Flames, and Utah. And Anaheim, huge question mark. It's like that stock that looks like it could spike, but you're not sure when. So the Western Conference is not for the faint of heart. Like the Eastern Conference, I think there's way more of a line following the Montreal Canadiens and the Blue Jackets, like the Red Wings, Rangers, Islanders, Penguins. I just don't know. The Blues would probably be somewhere in the top 6 teams in the Eastern Conference.
Do you expect the Jets to be as good as they were last year?
No.
I don't either.
I don't either. But I still think they're going to be one of the top 3 teams in the Central Division.
Do. Okay, so what are you thinking? Like maybe 3?
2 or 3. It's so difficult when you look at these divisions, especially the Central Division. The Jets, the Stars, the Avs, the Wild, the Blues, and Utah. And Nashville, it didn't work last year, but based upon their roster, when you look at it, it should be better next year, depending Roman Josi going through some things right now. So if he's done long term, then they're probably not going to do much better than they did last year. But the top 6 teams in just the Central Division alone are competitive. So the Blues they're going to need a 95 to 98-point season to get into the playoffs this year.
When I'm looking at all these teams right now, typically when we want to see progress and growth, we want to see the Blues maybe jump up a spot in a wild card or get that 3rd spot or 2nd spot, wherever in the Central Division. I think I'd be fine if the season rolled around and we played the full 82 and the Blues were in the same spot they were last year, number 8 in the conference. I think I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's the one thing about the Western Conference is there's really not a massive difference from 1st place to 8th place in the conference. And we saw that last year. The Winnipeg Jets finished the season with 116 points, the Blues with 96. And let's be honest, the Blues should have won that series. They gave the series back to the Jets with 2 minutes left in the 3rd period of Game 7. If 2 or 3 things happen differently, the Blues end up winning that series, and then it just goes into the whole theory of anybody, especially in the sport of hockey, anybody can beat anybody, even in a 7-game playoff series.
Well, it also changes a lot of how we look at the Blues too, because all of a sudden it's like, hey, you won a playoff series, and I don't know if they lose the following series either.
I don't know if they lose to Dallas.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wonder if they beat Dallas. No offense to the Stars. Maybe the Stars would have taken care of business, but I think you
wonder when would Holloway have come back, or would he have?
So it kind of changes the way we look at the Blues a year ago. Instead of, hey, they could have easily and should have won that series against the Jets. It goes to, they won a 1st-round series last year. They're going to continue to build. And you're right, no Holloway. So things change, Mox.
Do you think Dallas is going to be as good? Hired a new coach, fire another coach after how that season ended? Is that shakeup going to change things for them?
I'm not sold. on Dallas. A couple reasons. One, they've kept a lot of old guys around. Like Jamie Benn, they love him in Dallas, but what is he now? Like, really, what is he? He's third-line player. Now, he's being paid like a third-line player and things like that, but I don't necessarily think they've gotten any better. And Glenn Gulletson, I'm just not sold on this guy as a head coach. The last time he was a head coach was a disaster. It was not good. And he just has a personality to him to where he doesn't exude confidence or that he controls a room. Like, he's a smaller guy, which that's fine, doesn't matter. You don't have to be a tall guy. Barry Trotz is 5'6". Jim Montgomery's only 5'7" or 5'8". Like, you don't have to be tall in stature, but you have to have a certain charisma and confidence to you, or swagger. When you walk in a room, your $10 million players stand at attention. They know that you mean business. And Glenn Gulletson's always kind of timid, and he's got a little wee voice, and it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, this guy walking in and trying to get me fired up, maybe you would. I've never played for him.
Yeah.
But talking to guys in Edmonton that played for him before, said he's a great assistant coach.
That's a great compliment, unless you're the head coach.
Yeah. but maybe he's learned. It's been like 11, 12 years, I think, since he's been a head coach. Maybe he's learned, and now when he gets a second chance, he does things completely differently. I don't see Dallas being as good, though.
So when we look at the standings, and we talked about the Eastern Conference, one team that jumped from 8th place to number 1 in their conference was the Washington Capitals. What elements from their team this past season changed with them jumping so high up into the standings, and how can the Blues get there? I'm not saying they're going to be number 1, but how can they drastically change where they were heading into the playoffs in terms of their seeding? What needs to look different?
Well, they had Ovechkin, who was on a tear last year. Probably would have scored over 50 had he been healthy all year. And that helps. For sure. When you got a guy that's an automatic, it's like having that number 4 guy in your lineup when you're batting. You got your automatic, you got your Mike Trout, your Albert Pujols, you're like, whatever.
Michael Bush.
Michael Bush. It helps. But also what they had is a great coaching staff. Spencer Carberry's an awesome coach. Very, very much like Jim Montgomery. Great personality, upbeat, to the point, though. Don't cross him. Like, guys love to play for him. So that helped. And they also had a lot of young guys who took those next steps. Jacob Chikrin took those next steps finally. He'd been in the league a handful of years. We played for a terrible team in Arizona for a number of years, and I think that actually set him back as far as him growing as a player, just because their team was so bad. So now does Philip Broberg become like the Jacob Chikrin? Does he end up being that dominant next year? We hope so. What does Jimmy Snuggerud become? What about Holloway and Neighbors and all that? Like, Washington had a nice swell of young talent that really took big steps forward.
I think there's an underrated thing to this, too, and maybe I'm reading too much into this, but both teams at the top of their conference, the Jets and the Washington Capitals, had unbelievable home records. And we saw with the Blues, at least this group, obviously minus a few players now, but they were spectacular towards the end of the year at home. They won how many games did they win in a row going into the playoffs?
At home, I think.
Can you imagine if the Blues had that type of record at home and they were just, okay on the road? Like, that alone changes things. And now that the fans are eager to watch this team and they feed off the fans' energy, I think it could look different, especially at home.
Well, you got to give full credit to Jim Montgomery, too, on that one. Because when he came on board, the very first time that he was coaching the Blues here at home, he basically said, we need to play hard in front of our fans. Our fans deserve our best game. And he accepted no less than everyone's very best. Understanding full well you're not going to win every game, but you got to have people leaving Enterprise Center saying, you know what, I don't care. I'm still proud to walk around wearing this jersey, this T-shirt, this hat. Those guys laid it out there. Yeah, they lost 2-1 or 3-2 today, but man, I'm proud of that team. And they end up winning more games. In fact, they end up, 24-14-3 on home ice. And let's not forget that Jim Montgomery didn't have them all year. So who knows what it looks like next year, but the road record was very impressive, too. 4 games above 500 is good for that team on the road.
It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. That's Jamie Rivers, and Jamie had an interesting question about St. Louis fans in relation to Doug Armstrong and John Mozeliak and how St. Louis fans observe both. That's next in 101 ESPN.
ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals lose to the Cubs yesterday on Sunday Night Baseball. Final score 11-0. The Cardinals are off today, but they'll take on the Washington Nationals tomorrow. First pitch is at 6:45. Andre Palante on the mound for the Redbirds. Speaking of Redbirds, the AAA Memphis Redbirds, J.J. Weatherholt has been promoted to AAA Memphis. He is the first Cardinals minor leaguer to reach AAA or higher within a calendar year of being drafted since Michael Wacha in 2013, and the first position player since third baseman Brett Wallace in 2009. That is according to the Cardinals player development on X, so go check that out. J.J. Weatherholt has been promoted. We're going to talk about Doug Armstrong and John Mozeliak. So if you have an interesting thought on that, send us a text to the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. Or, of course, you can leave a mic drop. Leave a Scott Lee Heating Company mic drop, and maybe we'll play one coming out of the break. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center Update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
You can't call yourself a playoff contender if you're trotting out Fedde and Mikolas in your rotation. You can't do it. They have no trade value. At this point, DFA them. Get rid of them. Get them off your roster. You're not going to get anything for them. What are you going to get? A low-level, single-A, no-name Joe who just may make it. Prospects, you're not going to get anything in return for this one because you're going to have to eat the salary regardless. Just eat the salary and DFA them. Get them off the freaking team. I have never, and I mean this, I have never in my life seen someone, referring to Mikolas here, Fedde may join this conversation soon, where both the older generation of the Cardinal fans who are do it the Cardinal way and the newer generation of analytics are king, and then there's somewhere in the middle, all want Mikolas gone. I've never seen a group so unanimously want someone gone. You just DFA them and get it over with. Be gone. Mo, take some notes from Army and just cut the dead weight.
That was your guy Swan.
He's fired up.
He's fired up. Yeah, typically Swan is kind of mild-mannered, but you can't blame him. And he's right.
He's fired up, man.
How hideous, the hideous performances of Mikolas and Fedde, it's brought all of us together.
Everybody together at the same time, Carey.
That's interesting.
Come on, Carey.
I'm okay. I think you pound.
You'll get there.
Nah.
Swan also sets this up perfectly for a thought you had, Jamie.
Yeah, so perusing the socials, boy, can it be an adventure following a weekend like that for the Cardinals. Miles Mikolas, Eric Fedde, a couple of bad outings, and people like to talk about it. Now, I don't want to talk about that anymore. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, just about those two individuals in general. But it made me think to myself, because I saw so many comments of like, the Cardinals need to be like the Blues and Mo needs to be like Army. And why do people overlook certain things when it comes to Doug Armstrong, yet hyper-focus and never let go of other things when it comes to John Mozeliak? And my point is this, is that Army has had his misses too. Have they been as frequent as John Mozeliak or the Cardinals? Probably not, but there's probably more of them than you think of throughout the course of time. The problem, though, for John Mozeliak is Army is ruthless and swift at correcting the mistake. Just is. So let's go back. David Backes, your captain for the Blues. People were hot under the collar when Army let David Backes walk. David Backes ended up being an unserviceable player by the end of his contract because Army forecasted that, you know what, the way he plays, the injury history, just not worth it was the term. Backes wanted more term. And Army let that guy walk. It worked out. Troy Brouwer, that same year. If you can't keep Backes, you have to keep Brouwer. Let him walk too. Troy Brouwer went on to have a good little stint after that. It was no big deal. Didn't affect the Blues in any certain way. But then the David Perron situation. David Perron gets, traded to Detroit, and then you got this Nick Leddy thing, and then you got guys blocking other guys and money that's wrapped up. But all of that started because of the Alex Pietrangelo situation, where Army decided to walk on Alex Pietrangelo. Now, in hindsight, you would have gotten 5 really good years out of Petro, and who knows how long your window stays open at that point.
Right.
But now Petro is at risk, and it sounds like maybe his career is over with 2 years remaining on that contract. The Vegas Golden Knights will use the LTIR money, but that's still real money paid by the club to a player that won't be able to play. But you just fast forward then to the O'Reilly, Tarasenko, Barbashev. Those were necessities, as they say. But Army was willing to part with the necessities. Like, to Carey's point, whenever Mo's had a guy with a year left or whatever, he seems to not just trade him. Now, the other 2 years ago, he did that. He unloaded a few guys at the deadline there, the Montgomerys and things like that.
Right. But when it was clear, they were in a miserable season. The contracts were expiring, and he let them walk. And even the Jordan Hicks one, they were still like, "Oh, should we give up on Hicks?"
Well, Army, what he does, and what you just kind of laid out, he will move on from players that fans love, whereas Mo holds on to players that fans don't like.
He holds on to everybody.
But if you dive deeper, like we get a couple of texts here, and they're right. Like Army traded for Kevin Hayes.
Yeah.
Kevin Hayes came in, and then you had to trade Kevin Hayes. You unloaded that player. Army signed it P.O. Joseph and Matthew Joseph. P.O. Joseph, he had to move on from right away. Matthew Joseph, to be determined on where that lies. Texier, that's a tough one. He didn't play a lot last year. So there are things that Army does that are, we'll call them misses.
But how big of a risk is that, though?
Yeah.
Well, it's not much of a risk when you think about it, because in Army's thought process, even the Kapanins and the Veranas of the world, like those were players like, if it works out, great. If not, we really haven't given up anything, and I'm just trying to move the ball forward to get my young guys ready to play. Like Verana, Kapanen, all those guys were Kevin Hayes placeholders for Snuggerud, Holloway, Neighbors. Now, you didn't have Holloway, but I'm just saying, like, you were bridging the gap to get to your young guys. So I just find it very fascinating that John Mozeliak, I don't want to say is held to a different standard. Maybe it's created by their own actions. I just feel like people are more forgiving of Doug Armstrong.
Do you feel like, because you just mentioned how Army has kind of brought in those bridge players for the players that will eventually take over, do you feel like that is happening with the Cardinals? Because I don't. And I think that that's where the frustration comes from. It's not, okay, these players are bridge players until we get to the next crop of great young players. It's, no, these are going to be our guys and we're going to win. And that, to me, is why I want to pluck my eyeballs out when I see certain players play.
I agree, but let me ask you this. Do you think the Cardinals thought with Mikolas and Fedde that these are our guys that we're going to win with, or are they placeholders?
I think they thought that they were going to win.
Okay.
They traded for Eric Fedde. They signed Miles Mikolas to an extension, like they thought.
Yeah, but they didn't sign him last offseason.
But they kept him here.
But he was coming off an All-Star season there.
Not last year.
No,
last
but when
year
he signed the extension.
Second. Last year he was second in the major leagues in highest ERA.
But when he signed him to his extension.
But what I'm saying is the difference between Army and Mo is Army can watch a Kasperi Kapanen and he can watch a Verana and say, yeah, this isn't going to work. Let me move on. He can watch Saad and say, yeah, we're going to get Nick Leddy. Okay. Like, so he's willing to say.
Those two for a second.
He's willing to say, even though I owe you money, I'm going to figure out a way to get you the hell off of this roster so that this young player who is not making nearly as much money and is not nearly as much, I don't have nearly as much as experience as this player, this veteran player, I'm going to give them an opportunity without you bothering their growth in that regard.
So let's isolate Saad and Leddy right now, because I think those are two really comparable situations to what John Mozeliak is going through right now. Brandon Saad is a proven NHL player, Stanley Cup. Nick Leddy, Brandon, I think, has 2 Stanley Cups. No, Nick Leddy has 2. Brandon Saad 1 Stanley Cup. So they're champions, and Army found a way to make them both go away.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what people get mad at, is that
100%.
Army's able to figure out a way to move on from long resume players who've had success and then gets them off the books. Like Brandon Saad said, I'd rather just terminate my contract than go play in Springfield.
Correct.
Nick Leddy said, I'm not going to take a trade to San Jose. They're on my no-trade list. Army said, that's fine. We're going to waive you. Picked up the phone, called Mike Greer and said, by the way, Nick Leddy's available via waivers. I believe you guys picked in the second spot.
He's more active.
Want him, go get him.
Yep.
Yeah. Army is more active. He's more proactive. I think fans are more willing to say, okay, he made a mistake. He's moving on. If the guy is essentially saying that he made the mistake, right? Like if Army says, "Look, I messed up," he may not be saying it directly to the fan base or the media, but by moving on from that player, that is an admission of a fault. I signed this player. I traded for this player. It did not work out, and now I'm moving on. Whereas Mo will hold on to that player and say, "Well, listen, we got high hopes." Even if he doesn't, he's not proactive. And Army's way more savvy.
I don't know if it's an admission of fault. It's an admission that when I signed this player, he was damn good, or he did what we needed to do. We needed him to do.
We thought he was going to.
Or we thought he was, and now I have more information that he's not, and you got to get the hell out of the way, and that's okay.
Ipso facto.
Like you can admit, I signed this player. I thought this player was going to do this. He didn't do this, or this player did do this for this number of years, and now he's not, and now it's time to move on. And I don't think that the Cardinals are willing, and that's the difference between the Cardinals and the Blues and why fans are extremely frustrated.
Well, and that's why the Blues are ahead of their timeline, right? Because Doug Armstrong sees, okay, this guy is producing at this rate, and he costs this amount of money. I can probably plug in somebody who's not making that amount of money that could give me the same type of execution and maybe even better, and he's cheaper. So why don't we do that now? Because he's a young player and we can help him get experience at the highest level, and so we can continue moving the ball forward instead of saying, well, this is a youth movement, but we're actually not going to actually give the young pitchers an opportunity. This is actually an offensive youth movement. It has nothing to do with the pitching.
So let's go to the text line real quick, and I think this plays a huge part of it. We've talked about this before, nothing new. From the 636, Army is the guy at work you want to go have a beer with. Mo is the guy you get stuck hanging out with. He's nice enough, but he drives you crazy. Let's keep going here. Army from the 217 does not talk down to the fans. From the 573.
That's a big one with fans.
From 573. Also, it's how Army and Mo talk to us in the fan base. So that seems to be a big part of it, is not just the hits or misses when it comes to roster management, trade signings, and things like that. What I'm seeing on the text line is the lack of overall information as to direction of the team, and then how information is communicated to the fan base.
Yeah, this fan base specifically, St. Louis sports fans are big on tone, I feel like. And in the way that Mo delivers it, they feel as though they're being talked down to. Consistently. That's a huge thing with this fan base.
Well, these sports have been around this city for so long, right? Like, these people know the game. They know the game, to a degree, for some people. Maybe we're some of those people. I don't know.
Yeah. But we have to start watching the games.
Tell you what.
Getting harder.
Yeah, buddy. Certain people playing. I got other things to do.
These fans know what they're seeing, and they're not stupid. They're not stupid. So when someone talks to you like you are stupid and like you have a binky in your mouth. I think
that's the thing right there, is that they feel talked down to. That's the overall consensus. Where
and then they're not winning.
Army just talks about where the team is going, how they plan to get there. He has a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year plan for this team, and like the Cardinals, they don't even have a press conference at the end of a bad season because they say, "Oh, we've already talked about all that stuff."
Right. I already said what we wanted to say. It's not the point.
No, not the point.
Were you thinking of the Mr. Deeds?
Yeah. No, not Mr. Deeds. Big Daddy.
Big Daddy quote.
What is it? Don't die?
Yeah. As soon as you started giggling, I thought right now he's thinking about the Big Daddy quote.
What about the 5-year plan? They're all at Hooters.
Can the Cards even trade Fedde or Mikolas at this point? Probably not. We'll tell you why next on ESPN. Actually. trade Fedde or Mikolas at this point? Absolutely not. They don't have any value. I don't think Mikolas has any value, period.
But this is a problem.
Yeah, it's a huge problem.
It's a problem for the Cardinals because we literally just talked about how the Cardinals at times are unwilling to solve their own problems by being shrewd or eating money.
Right.
What are these guys? It's $20 million or $18 million for Mikolas this year?
17.
Well, now, I mean, some of that's been paid.
Yeah, you paid most of it.
I just said overall. If you're looking at the
overall
whole
commitment, $17 million.
And
this
Fedde
season.
was what, $7 million?
Sure.
Okay. Somewhere in there, I think. So you got $24 million from the beginning of the season to now. Now you've paid a lot of that freight at this point.
7.5.
7.5. There you go. So, anyways, you paid a lot of that freight to this moment. So, to your point, Anthony, there's not very little. There's a lot less. They don't want to piss people off by, what do you mean? There's like $12 million. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. We know.
Yeah, I know. Trust me. And I think there's absolutely no market at all via the trade avenue for these two players. So, will John Mozeliak and the Cardinals, will they have enough,
Huevos Rancheros,
to DFA one or both of these guys, relegate one of them to the bullpen? I don't know where they'd fit because they're pitching the same out of the bullpen. If you're not pitching good, you're not pitching good from either spot.
Right.
And, like, in all seriousness, like, if you have a game that's going into the sixth inning, and let's say Liberatores got a short night, 5.5 innings, a lot of pitch counts up. Mm-hmm. You gonna hand the ball off to Mikolas with a 2-run lead?
No, thank you.
Fedde?
No, because one, they're still throwing batting practice. Two, again, this goes back to what I brought up at the start of the show. How can you claim that this season is about development and keep those two guys in the rotation? But that extends to the pitching staff.
Yeah.
Because you have young guys right now at AAA that you can get a look at the big league level. I'm not saying everybody deserves a promotion, but there's got to be somebody within the organization beyond Michael McGreevy that deserves a look.
Well,
So
where's Quinn Matthews at right now? Is he in Memphis? I think he is. Yes, he is Memphis. Yes. Why not give him a little look? Why not? Remember what they did with McGreevy last year?
Yes.
Give him a couple little spot starts at the end of the season. Why not do that now with Quinn Matthews, Tekoa Roby, or Graceffo? Like, why not throw these guys a bone?
You're not going to get any argument from me out of it.
So it doesn't. For me, my question is, how does that happen? Because Miles Mikolas has a full no trade clause. You already mentioned that there's probably no value for him to be traded at the trade deadline.
No.
So you have to DFA these guys if you want to open up spots. Miles Mikolas more than likely ain't going to the bullpen, right? He's a starting pitcher, been that his entire career. Eric Fedde, same thing. They are probably have no desire to pitch out of the bullpen at this stage of their career. Miles is a 10-year vet. Fedde is an 8-year vet. And guess what? Neither one of those guys want to go pitch, want to be DFA'd or pitch in the minors. They want to pitch in professional baseball parks. They don't want to pitch anywhere else. So you have to do what Army did. You have to go that similar route. And it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be a marriage that ended poorly. It's a business relationship. I think the Cardinals get in their own way because of the nostalgia of being a St. Louis Cardinal. We can't go this route. We can't be shrewd and make these decisions because we're the St. Louis Cardinals, and that's not how we do business. Okay, then lose. Mm-hmm. Cool. Lose. I don't care. Like, you don't care, I don't care.
You do.
No, I don't care.
Oh.
If you don't give a damn, why don't give you? Sorry.
We don't give a fast lane.
You know it. I don't care.
I don't give a damn.
If you don't give a
fast
damn,
lane.
why should I?
Yeah.
If you can say every fifth day that one of these two guys is going to start and pitch and you know what the outcome is going to be, Eric Fedde, and here's the thing. I've been a professional athlete. Jamie has been a professional athlete. Like, it's not like you're trying to stink, man.
Right.
Like, you're not trying to stink.
No, you're not trying to.
You are trying your best. It just ain't working. Like, for whatever reason, it ain't working right. It ain't working well. Whether there's an injury, whether there's a mental aspect of it, whether your skill set has diminished and your ability to throw a fastball at the pace you've thrown it in your entire career is not there. If you can't hit your pitches in the way, in the spots that you have, whatever it is, it's not intentional. These players are giving you the best that they got. But here's the thing. It ain't good enough. I had a coach tell me, in the real world, repeat offenders go to prison. If you are a repeat offender, you go to prison. In the sports world, you lose your damn job. You are a repeat offender at this point. You continue to do the same thing, and they keep trotting your ass out there. At some point, somebody has to say enough is enough. Either you as a player got to say enough is enough, the ownership got to say enough is enough, the manager got to say enough is enough. Somebody has to decide that this is not what we're going to do every fifth damn day. And until that happens, keep losing. If you don't give a damn, nor do I.
If Miles Mikolas, I don't know this to be true, but I would assume that this is the end of the road for his career. I would assume.
Boys to Men style?
Yeah, kind of. I forget how old.
End of the road, still I can't let. They can't let go.
Can't let go.
That was amazing, Carey.
But if I'm Miles Mikolas, thank you very much.
That was really good.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
If I'm Miles Mikolas and I the velocity on his pitches, the location, everything is pointing towards this is it. Do you just walk in at some point and say, hey, Oli, put me on the IL. Put me on the IL, rest of the season. I don't care. Let me make my money. I like to be around the team. I'm going to help the young guys.
Would you have?
He's not.
If I was so terrible and I was going to be, if I would have known that I was going to be waived or sent to the minors and just be done, yes. And a guy like Miles Mikolas, way more established career than what I had. Certainly made a lot more money than I ever made. He's in a situation where he's an elder statesman on that team, and he could just say, look, I'm going to keep working the bullpen, keep throwing some things, and if we see some improvement or whatever, maybe. But until that point, put me on the IL, and I'm here to help in any capacity possible. I don't want to be DFA'd. I like to just ride it out here, boom. Because the Cardinals are paying him no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah.
This reminds me of another old pitcher that gave it all he had. And his manager wanted to save him for the playoffs, but he didn't have it in him. And their young closer lost his fastball. That team ended up winning, though.
Yeah.
Old pitcher named Chet Steadman.
Yeah, there was some. You remember Chet Steadman? There was some talk that he and that rookie's mom. There was some dynamics at play there.
Oh, there sure was.
Yeah.
You call it dynamics?
Yeah, for the radio.
Okay.
This also reminds me of that
dynamic things.
Yeah, for sure. This also reminds me of that documentary that I watched, and Marsh, I know you saw it as well, where the American football coach went across overseas and he coached football, and he spoke with an older veteran player that really he had lost it.
Yeah, he
was a
did.
defender, and that defender showed up the next day, ready for training, and just took his demotion like a man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of going to bleeping America to play.
He's here. He's there. He's ever fast lane where.
It's Roy Kent.
Yeah. He was part of that coaching staff later.
Yeah, he
on.
was. Well, he turned it around.
He did. No, I'm not saying Miles Mikolas will join the staff.
Let's hope not. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. We need a Gauntlet contestant, so if you want to play in the Gauntlet today, text in now. Gauntlet next on 101 ESPN. Go Yard all baseball season long with Underdog's Champions games. Hey, if you're going to watch Miles Mikolas and Eric Fedde pitch, you might as well take his opponents to go higher on home runs or higher on total bases at Underdog. Their app has over 100 300,000 five-star reviews and millions of users. People are playing everywhere, including our state here in Missouri. They're also winning big. Here's how it works. Playing on Underdog, just pick a player, decide whether or not to go higher or lower in stats like home runs, strikeouts, total bases, and more. That's it. So, again, yesterday you could have went lower on Eric Fedde strikeouts because you knew he wasn't going to last long. You go higher on Michael Busch because you can't get him out. Total bases. You just build your player profile there. If your entry is correct, you could win up to 1,000 times your money. You can turn a single dollar into 1,000 just by getting a few picks right. Download the Underdog app. Sign up with my promo code Anthony to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. Again, that promo code is Anthony at Underdog. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See UnderdogFantasy.com/web/deposit-match-terms. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Warriors. 4 categories, 1 challenger. Can you survive the Gauntlet?
Brought to you by Blue Note Roofing. Roofing, siding, and gutters. Visit BlueNoteRoofingSTL.com for a free inspection.
Time for the Gauntlet here in the Fast Lane on 101 at ESPN 405. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Andrew Marsh, Carey Davis, and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter, and we welcome in Steven. What's up, Steven?
Hey, guys. How you doing this afternoon?
Man, we're doing great. Appreciate you listening. Thanks for playing today. You got everybody available. Would you like to take on Marsh, Carey, Jamie, or me in the first round of the Gauntlet?
Initially, I was thinking Carey, but he gave a beautiful speech a little while ago about getting rid of Mikolas and Fedde, so I'm not going to take him on. I think I'm going to take on old Jamie Rivers today.
Oh, all right.
Now, is that OLE, like O-L-E, or old, O-L-D?
Both apply.
Okay.
OLE. I would never call him old.
Yeah.
All right.
O-L, yeah.
O-L.
All right, Steven. Good luck, buddy.
Apostrophe.
Thank you, sir. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, Jamie's going to head into the cone of silence right now. Steven, you're going to tell Marsh to spin that wheel.
Marshy, spin that wheel.
Oh, I like that little game host.
Yeah.
Steve, what are you hoping for?
I'm a big baseball guy, so I'm hoping for that.
It's not baseball. What do you think it is, Steven?
By that reaction, probably hockey or rando.
You are correct.
It's hockey.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
All right, Steven. Sorry, pal.
Couldn't have picked the worst person to play that against.
Well, you know what? We're going to give it hell anyways here, Steven. All right, four hockey questions. All were 2 points unless you ask for the options. If you ask for the options, those questions become worth 1 point. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
The St. Louis Blues signed forward Nick Bjugstad to a 2-year contract. Who drafted Bjugstad in the first round of the 2010 NHL entry draft?
Options, please.
The Florida Panthers, the Pittsburgh Penguins, or the Minnesota Wild?
I'm going to go with the Wild. Final answer.
Question number 2. Former St. Louis Blues forward Radek Faksa signed a 3-year contract with the Stars. Which country was Faksa born in?
Radek Faksa. Options, please.
Is it Russia, Slovakia, or the Czech Republic?
Czech Republic. Final answer.
Question number 3. New Blues defenseman Logan Mailloux was drafted by the Montreal Canadiens in the 2021 NHL entry draft at which pick?
I believe he was picked 31. Final answer.
All right, Steven, final question. Former St. Louis Blues forward Zach Bolduc was also drafted in 2021. Where did Bolduc begin his college hockey career?
Ooh. Options, please.
Dartmouth College, Mount St. Charles Academy, or Colgate University?
Dartmouth. Final answer.
All right, let's bring back Jamie from the Cone of Silence. Steven, how you feeling?
Against Jamie, not great.
Okay, all right. Let's see how you do
Keep
here.
it real.
All right, Jamie's going to walk back in here in a second. He was really silent
I guess.
in that Cone of Silence. Nobody there, huh? No, not even Grant.
Silence.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Yeah.
Jamie?
Yeah.
Your category today is hockey.
Ooh, boy. See how Old Rivers does today.
Old Barry Rivers.
Pack a lunch.
Okay.
The St. Louis Blues signed forward Nick Bjugstad to a 2-year contract. Who drafted Bjugstad in the first round of the 2010 NHL entry draft?
The back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, Florida Panthers. Final answer.
Question number 2. Former St. Louis Blues forward Radek Faksa signed a 3-year contract with the Stars. Which country was Faksa born in?
I believe the Czech Republic. Final answer.
Question number 3. New Blues defenseman Logan Mailloux was drafted by the Montreal Canadiens in the 2021 NHL entry draft at which pick?
Ooh, 30-something. I know that. 31st. Final answer.
Former St. Louis Blues forward Zach Bolduc was also drafted in 2021. Where did Bolduc begin his college hockey career?
He never played college hockey. Are we sure that's the question? He never played college hockey. Had he played college hockey, he wouldn't have been able to go play in the Quebec League.
You know what? Let me read it again for you. Former St. Louis Blues forward Zach Bolduc was also drafted in 2021.
Yeah.
Where did Bolduc begin his college hockey career?
I'm just telling you, the question's flawed.
I'll read it again for you.
It's a trick question. No one can answer it.
He played in the USHL briefly for the Sioux City Musketeers. Never played college hockey. Went back to the QMJHL to play junior hockey.
Would you like the options?
Sure, why not?
Dartmouth College.
Yeah.
Mount St. Charles Academy. Or Colgate University.
Okay, so Mount St. Charles, I believe, is in Canada, which would have afforded him the ability to stay. I'll go with Mount St. Charles just because it's what I think it is, but if we check his stats or his hockey DB, I bet we find out he never played college hockey.
I guess we'll find out.
Final answer. Sorry, guys.
Let's go over these. New Blues defenseman Logan Mailloux was drafted by the Montreal Canadiens in the 2021 NHL entry draft. At which pick? You both said 31.
Oh.
Correct answer is
31.
Neither of you needed the options. Nice job, guys.
Nice job, Stephen.
2-2 tie.
Thank you. About the only one I probably got right.
Stay positive, man. Come on now.
Former St. Louis Blues forward Radek Faksa signed a 3-year contract with the Stars. Which country was Faksa born in? You both said the Czech Republic. Correct answer is?
It is the Czech Republic, gentlemen.
But
Hey-o.
Jamie did not need the options on that one. So Jamie 4, Steven 3. Former St. Louis Blues forward Zach Bolduc was also drafted in 2021. Where did Bolduc begin his college hockey career? Steven, with the options, went with Dartmouth College. Jamie, after whining, went with Mount St. Charles Academy.
What?
Correct answer is
Mount St. Charles Academy.
Jamie's now up by 2.
Where does it say that here? Just out of
Can I
curiosity.
throw a flag on the play on that one or a booth review? That's a trick question.
Zach Bolduc initially began down the college hockey path, playing 20 games with Mount St. Charles Academy and 2 games with the Sioux City Musketeers of the United States Hockey League before choosing to play major junior hockey with Rimouski Oceanic of the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League in October of 2019.
Here's the problem I have with that, though, is that hockey DB and elite prospects have no record of him ever being in said program.
Here's what I'm going to do for everybody. Steven got it wrong. Jamie was also wrong. So I'm going to take the point away from Jamie. No, you didn't. You were wrong. You said that he never played college hockey.
By the way, it's a prep school, guys. It's not college.
Jamie, the point was already removed.
I don't care. I'm angry.
I at least gave Bolduc credit of going to the Ivy League.
You did. You absolutely did, Steven. If I could give you a point, I would.
Okay, fair enough.
Actually, you know what? Let's give you a point.
Okay, I know where this is going.
Okay.
The St. Louis Blues signed forward Nick
I'm not worried
Bjugstad
anymore.
to a 2-year contract. Who drafted Bjugstad in the first round of the 2010 NHL entry draft? Steven, you said the Wild. Jamie, you said the Panthers. Correct answer is?
It is the Florida Panthers.
Steven.
You have chosen poorly.
You lose.
Not today.
Taking away the 1 point for Jamie, adding it to Steven. Steven, he got you 6-4, a lot closer than you thought, though, pal. Nice job, man.
I appreciate the free point,
Absolutely.
and I'm
No,
happy
it wasn't
to
free. It was earned.
I'm happy to have lost to a Stanley Cup champion in Jamie Rivers.
There you go.
Steven, thanks a lot, buddy. Thanks for playing, man. Really appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. I appreciate y'all.
Thanks, Steven.
Thanks, Steven.
Take care.
All right.
All right, bye.
We got 5. Who did the questions?
Is Grant here?
Hockey's probably Grant.
He's fired.
That's why he left early. He knew it was going to be hockey today.
If all people, Grant, who's a hockey guy, should know that Mount St. Charles is not a college, and he should know that you can't play junior hockey if you've played college hockey.
I think we should just blame Wikipedia.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
What?
Wikipedia is one of our sources.
He did
That's
play,
what it says.
but he did play at Mount St. Charles, but it's a prep school. It's a high school.
Maybe he read the Wikipedia, and Wikipedia says college hockey.
Maybe.
So we're going to have to blame whoever wrote that. It could be anybody.
You can change it now.
We can. Somebody changed Jamie's middle name
Yep.
Yeah.
on
Change it.
Wikipedia to Barry.
Yep.
Began his.
You know what, guys? I just felt bad for Steven, too, because he was, he's given a bad question. How can a guy who maybe, not sure, how can he even guess?
I don't think it
Come on.
mattered.
Well, again, we gave him the point.
You took my point, even though I guessed right.
You're
Yeah,
right,
but
though.
you
It's
were
the
wrong.
integrity of the gauntlet.
You were wrong initially. You should have stuck with your guns.
Not wrong. It's
You
a prep
were.
school.
No, you were
I should
right.
get 4
You said
points for that one.
You said you didn't go to school, and then you made a decision on the
You
school.
didn't go
that
to college.
Nah,
you
on
said
the college
school.
you didn't go to.
Yep.
It's your
You didn't go
fault.
to college.
It's really your fault.
You went to prep school.
Stick to your guns, Jimmy.
College prep.
You believe
College
it.
prep.
Stick to it.
Yeah, I thought you were different.
All right. That was Carey Davis, by the way. Carey, I posed the question, can we end the Oli Marmol blame train?
Oh, boy.
Apparently, Carey has not been reading my manual on how to blame a manager for everything. We'll get into that question next on 101 ESPN.
Have you ever thought of owning farmland? Well, neither did I until I found out that people like Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, and many other successful people are buying farmland. And you wonder why? Well, here's the reason. There are steady returns. It has long-term growth and real stability. So as crazy as the stock market is sometimes, when it's up and down and all around and you wake up nervous and stressed out and all that, you don't have to worry about that. Farmland just continues to appreciate throughout the years. You get steady returns. It is a fantastic investment. And I've got the company for you, too. They're called AgVest. And for 14 years, AgVest has helped leading financial institutions manage over $900 million in farmland deals and is licensed in 10 states. Also, if you own farmland, AgVest can help maximize its value with full-service management from sourcing and diligence to rent and tenant selection. All you got to do for this wonderful opportunity or even more information on a fantastic way to grow your money is call my guy, Chris Bronner, over at AgVest at 618-520-7022. Again, that's 618-520-7022. Tell Chris that Jamie Rivers sent you in. And for more information, you can always visit agvestadvisors.com. Remember to buy land. They're not making it anymore.
after Carey watched that debacle last night at Wrigley Field, he wanted to pose a question to everybody, not just us, but to you, the fan, about Oli Marmol. Carey, take it away.
Yeah, Oli gets blamed for pretty much everything that goes wrong in St. Louis as it pertains to baseball. Sometimes it's not even baseball related. Blame Oli. You know, your Emo's pizza wasn't delivered on time. Blame Oli. The potholes in the ground on driving into.
I didn't do that.
Blame Oli. You blame
Thought
Oli
about it though.
for everything.
Maybe
St. Louis related. Mm-hmm. But what you will not do is continue to blame him for this damn team. He did not put together this roster. He did not sign players in the offseason or not sign players in the offseason because we know the Cardinals didn't really do that either. He did not have guys getting injured or guys not showing up or performing. This team was put together by a front office, by an ownership group that said, this is how much we're going to spend. This is how much I'm allowing you to spend. A front office that said, we're not going to go out and buy anything this offseason. We're going to stand pat. We're going to sit here and wait for the season to start. And Oli Marmol has done the best job. It's like making a meal with the groceries that you didn't ask for. You know? How the hell are you going to cook certain things when you don't have the groceries for it? But he's making the most of it. He's like a single mother that is doing the best job she can do, feeding her damn family and not getting all the support she needs. You know what I mean? That's what Oli Marmol is doing right now, and he's doing a fantastic job. Every fifth day, you know what he has to do? He has to pencil in a few names. I'm sure he doesn't want to pencil those names in, but who else you got? Where does he turn to, and who does he turn to? Nowhere. Nobody's coming to help him. Nobody's coming to save him. He's out here. So you have to stop blaming Oli Marmol for all things St. Louis related. It's not his fault. Putting the players out there, and it's their damn job to do their damn job. Then you know what? I got a few complaints about, well, he should have pitched Sonny Gray in the Cubs series. Maybe. But you know what? If the Cardinals had scored runs in the first two games in the Pirate series, you know what? That makes it a little bit easier to make that decision. Now, Sonny went out there. They didn't win the game that he pitched in, the final game.
Didn't do very good.
Didn't matter. Because if you saved Sonny to pitch against the Cubs and you get swept against the damn Pirates, either way, you're going to, well, why the hell didn't you pitch Sonny? It's a lose-lose situation, man. People have to play better. And the better players generally cost more money. So if you want to blame someone, blame the DeWitts. I would even put Mo on this train of not blaming him either. I'm not blaming Mo either. What? It ain't his damn fault. You play the better. I don't know, Anthony, you can do your research on this. You can get back to me. The better players generally cost more money.
True.
Just saying.
It sounds right.
Usually that's how it goes. So if you want to pay, if you don't want to pay for better players, you get what you get and you don't have a fit. And I do not blame Oli Marmol for what he has in this roster, on this roster, and what he has to perform, what he has to use every single day. It's not his fault. So quit blaming him. And quit asking.
I don't know we were asking for anything.
Nah, every single damn day.
Except for dump Mikolas
Oli
Fedde.
stinks. Oli is this. What the hell do you want him to do?
What do you think was going through Ollie's mind?
You don't want to know what was in
yesterday when an inning in the third, and he's got to go get Fedde because he's walked four guys already.
I think Oli Marmol said, this is a fast lane, nationally televised game, and I will not stand by and watch this. Because if it was on FanDuel at 1 p.m., I don't think anybody would have cared. But everybody in the country was watching Eric Fedde do what he did. And you got to go get him. You know what? I'm going to help you help me, son. I know you don't want to be here. I don't want to be here either. But we're here. And your ass got to get out because you're just going to walk everybody. And eventually you're going to leave one center cut and it's going to be on Waveland Avenue. And then it's really going to be a celebration here at Wrigley. So, you know, I got to do and I watched this on Friday with your best friend, Miles Mikolas. So I'll be damned if I watch it again. Your damn best friend. You two are, man, Oli Marmol probably doesn't sleep well the night before he has to pencil a few names in. Hey, you can decide who the names are. I ain't saying no names. I ain't no snitch. You know?
I think you did.
No, I didn't say that.
Did, a little bit, yeah.
But I don't think he sleeps well at night. Like you know that night when you got a Tom Brady on your roster,
I sleep like a baby.
Oh man,
yeah. In fact, sometimes you oversleep.
Yeah, you know the game plan is set. You're good.
I'd push back on that. I think he probably sleeps really well, knowing exactly what he has to do about 3 innings into the game.
No,
nah, nobody likes that.
Nobody wants that.
You know what he doesn't like?
But it's like he knows what's going to happen.
But he
whereas
doesn't know
like,
when it's going to happen. That's the problem.
But like if you have Sonny Gray on the mound and he only went like 4 innings, that would be a little bit more stressful.
So you're happy with Fedde and Mikolas?
When did I ever say that?
Well, that's what he said. He said Sonny Gray's the problem.
Yeah,
no,
kinda.
Okay. You're
what I
literally
heard.
putting words into my mouth. I did not say anything remotely close to that. Not even close.
Carey and I heard something different.
You need to put your glasses back on so you can hear that.
It's a good idea, Marshy. It's a good idea.
Eric Fedde is not a good pitcher. And yesterday I'm at the gym, watching the game on the TV, and I'm in between sets waiting for him to get out of the inning.
Cry?
And I think I waited 10 minutes before I did another rep, waiting for him to get one out against Dansby Swanson because he just kept throwing the ball down the middle. And I don't know how he didn't hit the ball, into play. He kept fouling everything off. But like I'm standing there waiting, thinking, is this guy ever going to get out of the inning? It's terrible to watch.
He did when Oli went out there.
I was home already by the time the second inning rolled around.
You got to stop blaming Oli, man. Like, at some point,
you're right. You're right.
At some point, professional athletes have to do their job. And if you don't do your job, again, you lose your job. That's generally how professional sports go. It ain't no secret. It ain't no hard feelings. If you stink, you don't get to keep performing. That's not how it works. But for whatever reason, the front office and the ownership is saying, I don't give a damn. So if y'all don't give a damn, why should we? You don't care. You don't care enough to help the manager put a roster out there, a pitching staff that gives him a chance to win every 2 out of the 5 days. He's not sleeping, man.
You're right, though, Carey. So there are small things that we can always debate when it comes to managers. Did he take the pitcher out too soon? Did he put the wrong guy from the bullpen? The batting order, was it right? Was it wrong? All this. But the one thing you cannot blame the manager for is that he's got 2 guys in his starting rotation that he has to play, because the front office hasn't given him anything else. So he's got to trot out Mikolas and Fedde in the same 3-game series, knowing full well that he's got his eyes closed praying that he gets a good start from them. You can't blame Oli for that. You can't. It's not like hockey or football where you have another player. Or you can bench a guy for most of the game, play him sparing. You can hide him throughout the. You can't hide a starting pitcher.
Yeah, I would have made them both pitch.
Was anybody
at the same time?
No.
Was anybody
I would have let Mikolas still pitch. I would have made him throw 120. And that would have made
120
Fedde.
pitches?
Yep. And that would have made Fedde throw 120.
I don't know why you took him out.
In 2 innings.
I would have.
Anybody else
and then next time he stunk, I'd throw him another 120.
You know what? The problem is,
at some point that arm's going to fall off.
So the problem, the Mikolas thing, he left him out there for a long time. Okay, whether that was Mikolas saying, "Okay, I'll wear it," or was Oli saying, "You're going to wear it."
You should wear it.
But Eric Fedde, you came back, you won that second game, dramatic fashion. Pozo hits the nice bomb. You're going into Game 3 thinking, maybe if I stop the bleeding now, it's 3-0. If I stop the bleeding, Oli's still actually, credit to Oli, he's trying to win the game there. Mm-hmm. Now, in hindsight, knowing that you didn't win that game and it wasn't even close, you leave Fedde out there for 8 innings. But, Oli, credit to him, he's still fighting.
In fairness, I think it was 1-0. It was 1-0 at that point. He could have got out of that inning. 1-0.
Yeah, who could have got out of that inning?
John King came in and he gave up those 2 runs.
Yeah, the bases were loaded.
Who could have got out of that inning?
Eric Fedde. Right?
I don't think so.
Anybody else was hoping that game would have gotten rained out last night?
As soon as Fedde headed back to the dugout, I'd be like, "Hey, I'm getting my 7 innings. So hope you stretched out. You're going 7. I mean, if you throw 200 tonight." We'll be hitting it to Downers Grove. I don't care.
Yesterday, I was thinking, this is quite the predicament because I'm done watching Eric Fedde pitch, but if he were to have a good outing last night,
you trade him.
They would have kept him.
Get every GM on the phone.
No, they would have kept him.
Did you see that?
It would have just pushed this nonsense down the line if he would have had a good outing last night. I'm right.
I think the nonsense continues regardless, Marsh. That's the sad part.
Oh, I think he's thrown his last pitch as a Cardinal.
What do you do with Mikolas?
I think Fedde's thrown his last pitch as a Cardinal.
But what do you do with Mikolas then, too?
I DFA both of them if I was in charge.
I'm just saying.
They've
got a massive problem.
They can't DFA him if the ownership tells you, I'm not paying for someone that's not playing.
At home.
He's not playing.
I'm not paying for someone that is going to be sitting at home. Put his ass on the mound.
For an inning and a third.
Again, it goes back to ownership. It's not get Mo and leave Oli alone. Leave him alone. Ain't they damn fault.
All right, Sports Six Pack is next. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service tax line. It'll be part one. Send in those questions. Sixer next. Jamie, I don't think we talk enough about our guy Stewie being able to help you out of a jam. If you are in a spot where you don't know what to do with maybe some soul-crushing debt, or you got into a bad situation when it comes to, buying a house and as an investment, and you need to kind of get out of it or do your best to work down that loan so that you can make it manageable. Call Stewie. He has dealt with all kinds of unique situations, and he can help you out, guaranteed.
Yeah, the best thing about Stewie is, one, he doesn't judge, doesn't care. For him, it's all about making it right for you, the customer. And if you have credit card debt, and let's say you piled it on, you got a line of credit that you've got now to cover the credit cards are covering the mortgage, you're upside down, talk to Stewie. He's got ways to make it all better. He can consolidate things, put it in the bagel loan if it's a home refinance, thing like that. And before you know it, all of a sudden things are much better. And that's just from the financial side. If you're purchasing a home, he's the number one guy to call. He gets you that pre-approval letter that you can write in whatever you need to based on what you are pre-approved for. That helps get your bid under the home and then gets you to the closing table with minimal stress. I can tell you because I lived it back in November with Stewie. He was fantastic. So anything financial or home purchase, call our guy Stewie. His personal cell phone number is 314-324-4440.
Again, that number is 314-324-4440.
He's out there working right now. We tried to call him, couldn't take our call because he's helping a 101 ESPN listener. Maybe the next one is you. So give him a call, and if you can't remember that number, However, what can you do?
You could always Google the bagel on.
NMLS number 226715.
There's a certain magic here in Cardinals Nation. Can you feel it? Central Bank is the hometown bank of the St. Louis Cardinals. Sign up for Cardinals checking with Central Bank and get your exclusive green embroidered Cardinals jersey and 2 game tickets. See bank for details. Member FDIC.
ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals dropped 2 of 3 to the Cubs this weekend. They lose 11-0 last night on Sunday Night Baseball. Eric Fedde started and went 1 1/3, and the Cardinals are 1 game back of that last wild card spot in the National League. They'll have tonight off, but they'll take on the Washington Nationals tomorrow night. First pitch at 6:45 with Andre Palante on the mound. Cool news coming out of the minors as J.J. Weatherholt has been promoted to AAA Memphis. So congratulations to J.J. Weatherholt. If you have a question surrounding the young prospect or anything you want to ask us, do so using the Air Comfort Service text line. We have our Sports Six-Pack coming up. Text in 314-399-9646. We'll do part 1 of our Sports Six-Pack next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is refreshed by the Finnish Long Drink, Finland's best-kept secret. A sparkling citrus beverage made with real liquor. Visit thelongdrink.com. Must be 21 years of age or older. Drink responsibly.
Part 1 of the Sports Six-Pack is right now. If you have a question, the Air Comfort Service text line is 314-399-9646 with Carey Davis and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Here's Andrew Marsh with question number 1.
Question number 1.
All right, this one comes from Steven, who was just in the Gauntlet.
Oh, hey, Steven.
Hey, Steven.
Steven wants to know, with J.J. Weatherholt already progressing to AAA this year, where does he fit in the Cardinals' future? Is it second base, third base? Is he a trade piece? What do you guys think?
Oh, well, how long do we think he's going to be in AAA? Or is he a guy that you can see pushing for a spot next year? He had a heck of his first year. He crushed AA.
Yeah, I wonder if he's there for at least a year. So let's say half of this season, half of next season, he comes up next year.
When is Nolan Arenado done with the Cardinals?
2 years from now.
So next year and another year?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
That was 2028, 2027.
2027 sounds about right. I asked that because
he's got this season, next season. He's got 2 more years after this season.
Okay.
So he doesn't become an unrestricted free agent until 2028.
So I asked that for the fact that we know he's not going to play shortstop. Mason Wynn is the shortstop for the foreseeable future. And I believe long-term as well. Second base is Brendan Donovan / Nolan Gorman. Nolan Gorman's second base / DH right now. They've got a logjam. Thomas Ajayci is the same kind of player. The Cardinals have kind of done it to themselves again. They've repeated the Tommy Edman, Brendan Donovan situation.
Yes, they have.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I don't know. I know Ajayci has been taking some reps in the outfield because he's no fool. He's like, listen, I'll take reps wherever I can to stay playing in the majors. J.J. Weatherholt, I don't know if he's going to try and do that to try and expand his playbook, so to say?
Yeah.
Or does Brendan Donovan become a permanent fixture in the outfield somewhere and you move him into second base?
I think that most likely Weatherholt is your second baseman for the future.
So then your center fielder, I think for the foreseeable future, is probably Victor Scott.
Mm-hmm.
And your right fielder is up for grabs, but Alec Burleson played a pretty good right field.
Mm-hmm.
Lars Nootbaar, does that mean Lars is the odd man out?
I wonder if Lars is the one that they dangle.
I've been thinking about that for this year at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Dangling Lars Nootbaar out there, see what you can get for him.
He's an advanced metric darling.
I know.
So there's going to be a bunch of teams that would fall in love with Lars Nootbaar.
You might get a good pitcher for a Lars Nootbaar, or a good young, up-and-coming pitcher.
I didn't sell Parkman outright. Got you an outfielder.
But
you
you
used to
don't
play for the Giants.
Not that you don't need Newt even this year, but you really don't from a roster construction standpoint. You can move Donnie straight out to left field and put Gorman at second base. And then Weatherholt is, the next man up type thing. And when Jordan Walker comes back, if he comes back, he's not hitting the ball that well in Memphis here, right now either. But, you've got that platoon with him and Burleson maybe. I don't know. But, yeah, I think Newt would be an interesting candidate for trade.
Anything to add there, CD?
No, I think we are kind of what I said. You all called me crazy when I said,
why you always say, come on, we're together.
Yep, we're all together. Question 2, please.
Question number 2.
What the hell was that?
That was the quickest pivot I've ever seen.
Anthony didn't give a damn about my point. So next question. The hell with it.
I'm just saying, CD, we're a team.
I'm like, what just happened?
I think Carey will have a lot to say on this next question. From Justin, what are your guys' most major concern for the Missouri Tigers football team this upcoming season?
I have no concerns.
Oh, God. What if you were a fan?
You got to find your quarterback, right? You have a quarterback?
You got a guy. You just don't know if he's.
You don't know
if he's the guy.
He had some really good years with old Brady.
Mm-hmm.
Trusted him. Did really good for this program. But now, when you got to replace your quarterback, things change. So, I don't know. I haven't looked at Mizzou's schedule. I don't even know. Like last year, we really thought that Mizzou should win 10-plus games. And I think we said going into last year, that was a team that should have been in the college football playoffs. And I think most people would agree if they didn't make the college football playoff based on the year before and the schedule that they had last year, then that year could be considered a failure.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they won 10 games, but I still think that they left a lot of meat on the bone last year. I don't know what they have in terms of what the expectations are for this year. I haven't looked, like I said, I haven't looked at the schedule. I'm trying to find it right now.
Their schedule is, they've got a couple of cakewalks. Central Arkansas. I don't know what Kansas will be this year.
Kansas was a bit disappointing last year.
Yep.
They came in ranked and
then they got Louisiana Lafayette, South Carolina.
It's going to be really good.
Massachusetts, Alabama, Auburn, Vandy, home game against Texas A&M, Mississippi State, Oklahoma, Arkansas.
So you could see
that's not a cakewalk.
You can see four losses. South Carolina, Lenore Sellers is the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's a really good player.
As we all found
Alabama
out last
should
year.
be good. Vandy bringing back was Diego. I can't remember his last name. The quarterback that they had that performed really well last year.
Oh, Diego.
What is Diego's last name?
It starts with a P.
Yeah, him.
Diego.
And then you have
Pajes.
No. What is his name? Diego Pavia. Yeah. They were a really good team last year, and I'm sure they'll be a little bit better this year. Texas A&M, we saw what happened when Mizzou went down there last year. But you're probably looking at 3 or 4 losses just off of those games in the SEC, which I don't know, 8-4.
I think their overall depth is going to be an issue. They did not have the strongest recruiting class. I know that's not everything, but they ranked near the bottom of recruiting in the SEC. I think the defensive line depth could be a major issue. You mentioned the quarterback. You know, with Brady Cook gone, you got a battle there. I don't know if. I mean, the expectations, for whatever reason, when the expectations are high, Mizzou tends to struggle like a year ago.
Yeah.
Now that they've been lowered again, maybe a little surprised, but I mean, they under Eli Drinkowitz, their formula has kind of been, hey, work the portal, maneuver around that. You know, recruiting at times has lifted the pro. They've had some good recruiting class, but they've not been able to sustain whatever success that they have had. I think depth if I were to choose one, I think depth in the trenches is going to be the biggest concern I have.
Question number 3.
Carey's definitely going to love this question from Grant Francis Fan Club. Should Pozo be the starting catcher over Pajes?
What do you think, Carey?
I don't give a damn who you start.
No. Come on, Carey.
I think you should start Herrera at catcher. Because what the hell is the difference?
He's hurt.
When he's healthy, put him there. Pozo and Pajes. Nope, he's not. He's a first baseman. He did all that work this offseason. You leave him the hell alone. You know? Been working his ass off the offseason.
He looks good.
He ain't going back behind the plate. Sure of it. But no. Here's the thing. I don't dislike Pajes. I just don't like that he don't catch the ball. And there are certain positions, you know, in life where the job description is actually in the title.
Yeah.
Like defense?
Defense, catcher. You should catch the ball. I don't know. Just my personal opinion.
Carey calls a good game.
Yeah. Except for when he's chasing the damn ball. Why didn't he catch the ball? Why is it so damn hard to catch the ball?
It's moving pretty fast, Carey.
If you are in basketball, they have a shooting guard, right? Mm-hmm. You don't play shooting guard if you can't damn shoot, right? You're just a guard.
You just guard.
Yeah. You're a damn catcher. Catch the damn ball, man. Why every time? Why is it every damn game I watch with Pajes, I see his ass running back behind him to find a damn baseball? Get your ass in front of the damn ball.
It's not his fault.
It is his damn fault.
You need to stop watching the games. We'll win a few more.
Carey, I mean, he got his glove on at least a little bit.
Pedro pass ball Pajes. That's a
whoa.
That damn ball is always behind him. Am I wrong?
Wow.
The Sajasi throw, granted, it wasn't a great throw. Move your big ass and catch the ball, man.
Wow.
If you touch it, you can catch it, right, Carey?
If it touches your hands, it's a drop. That was our rule.
Yeah.
If it touches your hands, it's a drop. It was I couldn't hit my feet. No. You touch your hands? Yeah, but catch the damn ball. That's the damn rule. That's your title. Catch the damn ball, man. It ain't that damn hard. Or maybe it is. Hell, I don't know. Sick of these guys, man. I am sick of this team. I'm sick.
Oh my God.
I think
I went from Pajes to the whole team.
By the way,
I'm sick of it.
we didn't see it, but Carey got on that roller coaster
I
at
was
some
going to say,
point.
that doesn't sound like somebody
Yeah.
who's sitting on the bench.
Yep.
This damn team.
All right.
Oh, man.
We're going to let Carey continue to cook and come back with the second part of the Sports Six Pack next on 101 ESPN.
Cheap, fun.
Let's get dirty with my friends over at Dirt Cheap. Just had an amazing holiday weekend, and thanks to Dirt Cheap, everything was awesome. Plenty of refreshments to go around for the entire weekend. Some great deals on some of the tequilas, too, the vodkas. We picked up the Tito's handle. Made sure we added that to the slushies, and why wouldn't you? They also had some great Busch Light, Bud Light, Natty Lights, all that stuff. They had the Banana Rocket Whiskey, too, which is good. Let's not forget right now that the July drink of the month is called the Clucking Bomb. Get in there, talk to the sales staff. They'll let you know what goes into all of that. And no matter what it is that you're celebrating, whether it's just a weekend, whether it's a grad party, whether it's a birthday party, whether it's just the lake or a float trip, my friends over at Dirt Cheap are going to help you get exactly what you need. Also, download the Dirt Cheap Rewards app and start saving immediately. You can also use that app to place a pickup or delivery order. They have drive-through locations at certain spots of theirs. New locations in Fredericktown, Washington, Hillsborough, and Wentzville. So much happening through the entire summer here with my friends over at Dirt Cheap. So please remember that they are your one-stop party shop. For more information, check out cheapcheapfunfun.com. Again, that's cheapcheapfunfun.com. Remember to have fun, people, but be careful out there.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is refreshed by the Finnish Long Drink, Finland's best-kept secret. A sparkling citrus beverage made with real liquor. Visit thelongdrink.com. Must be 21 years of age or older. Drink responsibly.
Part 2 of the Sports Six-Pack is right now. Carey Davis, Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter, Andrew Marsh with question 4, please.
Question number 4.
All right, Anthony, from the 314, which current Cardinal reminds you the most of your favorite quarterback, Kirk Cousins?
Oh, wow. Ooh, that's a good question.
Which current Cardinal?
Yeah. I think I got to go with Miles Mikolas.
Definitely.
Nice guy. Probably feeds his kids.
Chicken nuggets.
Probably.
Dino nuggets.
Yeah. People liked him at one point, but now everybody can see that, boy, he just struggles. So give me Miles Mikolas.
What was the question? What current Cardinal reminds us of Kirk Cousins?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's probably it. Current? Yeah. I'd say though. Yep. Pretty accurate.
Agreed. No pushback on this side. Not now.
Tough question, but we'll go Miles.
Yeah.
Question number 5.
From a 618, my question is, can someone tell CD to enjoy the Cardinals because this NFL season is going to be much harder to watch for him?
Wow.
CD, what do you think, pal?
My Steelers, even though they got older, they are better. Said it for the last few years. Need a quarterback? You got a quarterback. Got rid of Russell. Got rid of Justin, who I thought Justin, maybe a different coordinator.
No, you had him MVP last year.
Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, even though he's a little bit quirky, a little odd, some may say, he's still a football player. He's top 10 in passing last year. Gonna be good, man. We're fine. We're fine. Talk to me in November. I'll let you know how I feel.
Do you envision an epic collapse?
No, Pittsburgh doesn't have like epic collapses. It's so
like they have nothing good in December.
I do have this is true, but I do have like it's a little weird. Like you traded for DK Metcalf, and then you traded George Pickens, right? You traded for Jalen Ramsey, but you gave away Minka Fitzpatrick. Like the swappy thing. I don't know how it's going to work out.
Why didn't you mention Jonnu Smith in that deal?
You don't like the swappy thing?
Sometimes not when it comes to trading draft picks or trading players. I didn't mention Jonnu Smith because we have a stellar tight end in Pat Freiermuth. Jonnu Smith just adds depth.
You did.
No, we do. He just adds depth to what we already have. You got a few pass catchers on this roster. We're going to be more like what the Patriots were when they had their 2 pass catching tight ends. God bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What's that?
What question 5, please?
Did you think you were just gonna sneak that in and keep the feet moving?
You were sneezing. You didn't hear that.
I definitely heard that. Oh man! All right. Question 6, please.
You sure don't want to stay on that question?
No, I think
Carey's done with that.
I think Carey's done with that question. Is right. Yeah.
2 tight ends. We're good.
Ooh.
Question number 6.
All right, here's a fun one from the 314. If you could go golfing with any 3 celebrities / pro athletes, who would it be and where?
Oh, wow. So many possibilities.
Are they current athletes?
I don't think it could be anybody.
Anybody.
It's celebrity / athlete, so who knows?
I don't know.
I mean, gosh.
Michael Jordan would be on the list.
I was thinking Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
John Daly.
That's a good one.
Tiger Woods.
I was thinking that too. But, are we missing something? Because we can have any celebrity golf with us.
It would, I don't know. Like, I would want to.
See, I think I'm pigeonholed right now of like actual guys at golf.
They can play golf.
Yeah. Because I'm sure going to golf with.
Why don't you like golf with Tom Brady?
Yeah.
It's a good one for you.
I missed the assignment.
Charles Barkley.
Like for you, I don't think. I don't think you golfing with hockey players makes sense because you've already you've know those guys very well. Like that wouldn't be it's a treat, but much different than like for Marsh maybe.
Yeah.
But for you, like Tom Brady makes sense. Dan Campbell, guys that you really
and John Daly. There's my forces right there. Mm-hmm. There we go.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. We got there.
Yeah,
we got there.
You and me?
Yeah,
I said Jordan.
Oh.
I would still, Jordan would be, and Tiger Woods.
If you watch golfing with Jordan, you're going to take your money.
It's true. It's probably true.
Oh, no, it's definitely true.
Yeah,
he don't play unless you pay.
Unless you paying. Gambling.
But gambling, yeah.
That could get awkward, too.
A little bit, especially when you don't have nearly as much money.
It would be wild, too, when you see him suck through that golf hole, and then you never see him until he comes back on a spaceship.
What?
It's a documentary he's talking about. So here's the thing about Michael Jordan. I don't think it would be necessarily, it has to be like an absurd amount of money. I think any amount of money, as long as he's taking your money or trying to take your money, I think he'd be okay with it. You could play $20 a hole. He would probably just be like, yeah, all right. Yeah. I'm trying to take your money from you, whatever it is.
You're right. Unless you beat him, and then he'd be like, double or nothing.
Yeah.
And he'd just run you out of town.
$2,000 a hole.
Whoa,
Mikey.
Like Key and Peele skit.
Yeah. I don't want it back. I want to win it back.
Now you gotta play him.
I'm not coming home, Mr. Jordan, scaring me.
That actress is really good with that skit.
So funny.
All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Biggest question of the day is next, and yeah, it's Cardinals related.
Yay.
Circus Sports in Las Vegas got a bunch of great contests going on. You've heard me talk about the Circa Million and the Circa Survivor. They also have the Circa Grandissimo. It's the ultimate high-stakes survivor contest. Everything the same as Circa Survivor except for three big differences. $100,000 entry fee, maximum of 2 entries, $1,500 guaranteed, or $1.5 million guaranteed to the winner. Pick one team straight up every week to win. If the team loses or ties, the entry is eliminated. You can only pick one team each season. That's going on, and you can also register with the Circa Million and Circa Survivor while you're in Las Vegas, Nevada. Registration open until September 6th at 2 p.m. Once you register, though, you're able to use all of that on your Circa Sports Illinois app. The app is very user-friendly, easy to find on their website or the App Store. And when it comes to the actual betting, they've got great lines on futures, tight money line splits, and they've got the best odds out of any app that's out there. So please don't miss out on any of that action that I just talked about. Get to Las Vegas, register for those contests, or download and bet like a pro with your Circa Sports Illinois app today. And don't miss all the excitement. If you or someone you know may have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text ILGAMB to 833-234.
biggest question of the day, brought to you by Mentality. Our patients experience a 30% increase in testosterone levels. Reclaim your health at mentalityhealth.com/radio.
507, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Carey Davis, Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter, and Marsh has got the biggest question of the day.
All right, gentlemen. Anthony, you teased it in the last segment. It is a Cardinals question, and that question is, have the Cardinals lost sight of what this season was supposed to be? Do you think that the Cardinals are falling back into the same trap they've set for themselves the last X amount of years?
I do, yeah. I think the Cardinals' biggest opponent isn't actually the Cubs or the Brewers. It's their own organizational paralysis. I think they love to be safe. I think they're addicted to safe. The front office loves to make safe trades, loves safe roster moves, safe payroll decisions, and safe doesn't win championships. That doesn't mean that you have to spend the way that other teams do. You can be smart and savvy and shrewd, but you do have to do something to be proactive. Michael McGreevy should already be in the rotation, but they're scared to promote him because they're worried about, I don't know what they're worried about, but right now the Cardinals are playing for the middle. It's the worst place to be in sports. They're not bad enough to rebuild. They're not good enough to win. It's safe. Risk averse.
Do you think at this point they're not really just risk averse? They don't know what to do? Because it's been so long since the Cardinals have been super aggressive, whether it's via trade or free agency or anything like that, that it's almost like the front office is like, we usually just kind of, this is kind of what we do.
Let me ask you this, Jamie. What do you think Doug Armstrong would do?
Well, I know, but Doug Armstrong's never been complacent. Never.
Right.
And I think that there's been some complacency that has crept into the Cardinals front office, whether it's the ownership not willing to spend above a certain amount of money and forcing John Mozeliak to stay in that muddy middle as far as players are concerned. And then it's been so long now that Mozeliak is only looking for muddy middle type players. And when he gets them, he keeps them around. And then he's unsure of the young players. He's worried about the failure because the Cardinals have to win a certain amount of games to keep the stands filled in order for the ownership to pay the players accordingly. And if he doesn't stay right close enough, then he is not doing his job properly. So I think it's just not risk averse. I think it's almost like he's just been trained to be like, this is what we are. And this is what it is. And we'll get through this, and the contracts expire, and McGreevy then will get his chance. Rather than being aggressive and saying, no, this guy's got to go, and we got to get the young guy here. And if we fail, we fail. We told you people we were going through a transformation of people. We're going through a transformation of this team, and this is part of what happens.
Yeah.
But they don't do that.
So what I'm hearing you say is Doug Armstrong would have DFA'd Miles Mikolas.
He would have found a way to make Miles quit.
He would have put him on waivers.
He would have put him on waivers, yeah.
And they snuck through waivers, and DFA'd him.
Yep. He would have sent him down to the minors.
He would have created a spot.
Now, the strange thing, the odd thing that I find about this is like the NFL, NBA, and the NHL predominantly because there's lots of roster moves. The NHL is a salary cap league. So when you want to send a guy down, there's implications, and not always in a great way. Like, if Nick Leddy would have cleared waivers, you don't get $4 million off the books. You get about $1 million of his salary off the books. That's it. To prevent teams from just hiding money in the minors. So baseball with no salary cap, I mean, you're paying the money anyways. Just DFA him.
Right.
I'm totally behind that.
We keep having this conversation about the Cardinals and the Cardinal way and all of that. This franchise used to make really bold moves. Even Mo had made the bold move of acquiring Matt Holliday. He made the bold move in 2011 to send Colby Rasmus to Toronto and rebuilt the farm system and rebuilt the bullpen. He made the bold move to send Alan Craig and Joe Kelly to Boston for John Lackey, right? He made bold moves. Now, Goldschmidt, Arizona wasn't going to pay him. Arenado, we know that Holiday probably greased the wheels a little bit for Holiday to come here. I wouldn't put those in the bold categories, right? So the organization like that acquired Holiday and Scott Rowland and Jim Edmonds, where's the fire now? I think that is one of the things that frustrates fans the most. There's no fire. There's no passion. There's no Doug Armstrong. We will be proactive. Instead, we'll wait, we'll bide our time, we'll be patient.
I think the worst thing that happened to them this year was the month of May, right? You won 19 games, you only lost 80, you had a 70% winning percentage. Like you were winning games, and you may have gotten fooled into believing that, we're ahead of schedule. Instead of sticking with the initial game plan was, this is going to be a youth movement, and we expect to be bad. And because, look, I don't know if it's greed. I don't know if it's greed. I don't know if it's, we're not going to pay players a lot and we're not going to overextend ourselves, but we got to have butts in the seats. Mm-hmm. Because why? Because that's how you make money.
Yeah.
Right? That's how you generate revenue, is by
it's how
people
you be
showing
profitable.
up.
Yep.
And so I don't know if it's greed that led you to say, well, we're good. Let's try to figure. Let's see if we can ride this thing out. Or if it's pride. If I keep going, I'll probably name all the deadly sins, huh?
Pride, ego,
pride, gluttony,
sin.
Yeah,
no.
Like sin is a deadly sin.
Yeah, that's one of them.
But yeah, I don't know what the
misspoke.
I don't know what it is, but I just feel like that the month of May, they felt like, okay, we're good. We can actually do this. We can actually be a really good team. But your track record has shown you that eventually the wheels are going to fall off. And we've seen it for the last couple of years. But this year was supposed to be okay because it was supposed to be a youth movement. Like the notion that you're going to have younger players gaining experience made it feel better. But now this almost feels worse because you kind of got your hopes up, believing maybe they can do something spectacular, and then all of a sudden it's taken away from you.
This comment from Splashback Deuce kind of works well with what you just said, CD. He said, I think ownership only knows how to run investment properties and not a professional sports team. Investing year after year instead of just a one-time upfront investment and maintain seems foreign. I think that's interesting.
I've said it all day today that all of the things that are right or wrong with the St. Louis Cardinals, it's not Oliver Marmol's fault. It's not even John Mozeliak's fault. It's the DeWitts. If you want to have a good program, a good organization, a good business model, everything starts at the top. Mm-hmm. Whether it's good or bad, there is no running from that. That's the rule. Whatever you have, whatever facet, whatever walk of life you're in, even in your own home, it starts at you. It starts with you. So if it's bad, it's because of you.
Yes.
If it's good, it's because of you, and then everybody else plays their part. But if the Cardinals are going to stink, you can fire Mo, you can fire Oli, you can fire Gersh, you can fire everybody. But if the ownership still plays things the way that they play it, and they don't do the things or allow the things to happen in the manner in which they need to, you're going to have the same situation.
Here's Bill, who left us a mic drop.
Oh, hey, guys. I'm going to try one more time to put in a mic drop and listen to you guys cut me down. This is my old Bill. I'd like to remind you one more time that, you always say, the Cardinals will spend money. Cardinals will spend money. They never do. Okay? Look at the Cubs payroll. Look at the Cardinals payroll. Knocked $58 million off of the Cubs payroll and see what kind of team you have. There's no comparison in the teams because there's no comparison. There's no comparison in the payrolls. Are you trying to tell me that payroll has nothing to do with baseball? Come on, guys.
Now, Bill, who
I don't
said
know.
that?
Yeah, who are you talking to? Not once have we said the Cardinals will spend. Not once have we said that payroll doesn't matter.
I actually said the Cardinals, in order to get better, you got to do what? Pay better players. Like, I literally said that earlier, which goes to your point. Yeah, if they paid for the best players, I told Anthony, you're still supposed to be looking that up.
Yeah.
The best players get paid more money.
Right.
And they generally perform better.
They have
generally.
There are a number of teams, by the way, that have a lower payroll than the Cardinals and are equal or better than them in the standings.
Yeah.
So
it's about spending smart. It's not about spending.
I don't. Yeah. Maybe Bill got us mixed up with a different show.
It's
possible.
maybe. It's possible.
Fine.
We're going to give Bill the benefit of the doubt.
And we
here.
love that Bill is listening and that he participates. Thank you.
Yep. Because we never even cut Bill down. I mean, this was a layup here with Bill.
I don't think we've said anything rude to Bill.
We did send it at 219.
Well,
every day.
And I don't mean this to sound crass or to put Bill down. We don't even know who you are, Bill. So to say, like, you're probably just going to cut me down again. Bill, we have no idea who the bleep you are.
Anthony, you're doing it right now.
No, I'm not.
I said
with all due respect.
I mean, you get to say whatever you want.
Like, if you have a bad take or you're not accurate with what you're saying, then we will cut you down.
Sure.
Well, nobody's safe in this establishment.
It's true.
No.
From 2:05 to 6 o'clock.
Bill gets it.
Bill, I guess what we're saying is we don't know who you are.
They don't want to cut you down, Bill.
We don't want to cut you down.
If I
want to build you up.
maybe.
Maybe.
I don't think I have.
But, Bill, I don't know what bourbon coma you just came out of, but we have never said the Cardinals will spend. And I mean never.
I really haven't.
Here's an interesting question from the 816. Would you rather have Jerry's World or the DeWitts?
Jerry. I know he's going to pay his players.
Jerry's reckless.
He don't care.
Oh, guys.
It doesn't lead to winning, but damn it, I feel better. I'm damn sure we feel better.
We'd be sitting here at the same record.
I would feel better.
Oh, man.
I think you'd be more irate.
Nah.
You're paying all these guys and they still are doing what you want them to do.
Give me that problem.
He'd be paying a number 2 starter like an ace.
Maybe. But you know what?
I'm paying that guy $35 million a year.
Brian Schottenheimer would be your coach.
Oh, man.
He'll be your manager.
Oh.
Who would be the Brian Schottenheimer of Major League Baseball?
Oh, man.
He's trying.
I don't know. That's tough.
Gabe Kapler.
I was thinking the same name. I was going to say the big buff bald guy.
Yeah, but Gabe, like, he brought a team to the playoffs at least.
He actually was pretty innovative.
Yeah, for a second.
It worked.
Yeah, true. I don't think we're going to be saying that about old Brian Schottenheimer. We need... No, we don't, actually. There's no Cardinal game tonight.
No.
All right, we're going to do Bet the Board next. So we're going to do a quick Bet the Board next here on 101 ESPN. Hey, guys, we've been feeling off lately. Jamie and I, we understand what you're going through. Low energy, tired all the time, gaining weight, maybe even snapping at people.
Yeah,
Jamie, you and I were both there. You're not alone. Mentality's there to help. If you want to just feel better, right? And when I say feel better, I mean feel like you could tackle any job, play with the kids at the end of a long work day, you know, be outside all day on the weekend. Everything's, feeling a little tight and everything, and then to wake up great the next day. Go see our friends at Mentality, local clinic built just for guys like you and I, Jamie.
Yeah, come on, guys, just stop it. Stop the insanity here. Get in, talk to our friends. They're gonna listen to everything you have to say, and then they're gonna do the full blood panel, and you find out exactly what your program will consist of. And it's inevitable that at some point in your life, low testosterone is going to present itself. And I never realized what that would feel like until it happened. And then I realized, oh, man, I really need to change things. So mentality helped me change things. You feel better, you look better, you act better, all of these things. I want a happier version of you. Anthony wants a happier version of you and your family as well. So get into either location, South County, Chesterfield. Tell them Anthony and Jamie sent you in there. It's covered by most insurances, too, so don't shy away for that reason. If you need more information, you can always visit mentalityhealth.com/radio. Again, that's mentalityhealth.com/radio.
Before we get to Bet the Board, 101 ESPN, hey, that's us. We have your shot to score a pair of 4-day passes for Major League Pickleball, sponsored by Stella Artois. Next Thursday, July 17th through next Sunday, July 20th at Chaffetz Arena, hosted by the hometown St. Louis Shock. This event will be the largest indoor pro pickleball event ever. And you have your opportunity to win tickets right now if you text in to the Air Comfort Service text line at 314-399-9646. The correct answer to our trivia question that's about to come up here in a second. And you're the 101st texter. So here's your trivia question. Jamie Rivers gave the Blues offseason a grade of what today? Jamie Rivers gave the Blues offseason a grade of what today? Again, text in 314-399-9646 to the Air Comfort Service text line. And if you're the 101st texter with the correct answer, you'll get a 4-day pass for Major League Pickleball. And 101 ESPN listeners can also get a special discount on single day and 4-day tickets by using the code WXOS. WXOS. Find all the details and a bonus chance to win free tickets for Major League Pickleball at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 mobile app. Marshy.
Yeah.
What do we got for the latest standings, kid?
Anthony, you're 3-0 this month.
Yes.
3 points. Jamie has 2. Carey has 2.
Whoa. I don't know, it's you. I thought I'd 3.
Nope. You got 2. We were tied. You lost 1.
I'm at 0.
Give me Carey's Dodgers at minus 137 on the money line.
Damn it.
Against the Brewers.
That's where I was going to.
I knew you.
That's where I was going to.
I knew it.
Sorry, guys.
Yep. Blank you, Anthony.
Thank
That's
you.
okay. Give me. Are we tied? Mm-hmm. You want to go first, Carey?
Sure.
Go ahead there, buddy.
Give me Shohei Ohtani. 1.5 hits, runs, RBI. Minus 140.
All right. Give me the San Diego Padres on the money line, minus 122.
All right, I'm looking at the Houston Astros and Cleveland Guardians. Cleveland, man, they are not good. Houston, money line, minus 132.
Okay. There you have it. Let's bet the board.
Look at us.
Look at us.
Good job, fellas. I knew you were going to take my pick.
You did?
I did. I felt it. Felt it in my bones.
Yeah.
Yep.
You okay with that?
It's okay.
Honestly, I should take the Brewers. I should switch to the Brewers.
You like the Brewers in that game?
If we all like it, then it's usually a big fat L.
I take a
But
look.
I'll stick it. I'll stick it.
Stick with it?
Yep.
That too?
That too.
All right.
We got a text from the 314 going back to the Cardinals and the pitching and all that stuff. The single biggest issue is neglecting the farm system. We used to out-train other clubs, or maybe it's out-rain. Either way,
Well, both work.
that allowed control of costs in a mid-market and still compete with fan loyalty.
Yeah, well, that is the one thing. They don't have a tremendous amount of depth in the minor leagues. And to hear them talk about how they're just now building a pitching lab and doing all this stuff from a team that was at one time very well respected for developing pitchers, it's just like they just completely missed a 5-year window of where the pitching game was headed.
Definitely. Well said. And now they don't have the depth in the minors.
They're trying. They've drafted a whole bunch of pitchers here recently, but
they also
they're not ready.
They also acquired a handful of pitchers at the deadline a couple of years ago when they sold off Montgomery, Flaherty, Hicks, and who am I missing?
The reliever. Who am I? There was a couple of relievers, wasn't it? Gallegos? No.
Chris
something.
Chris Stratton.
Yeah.
Who was acquired from the Pirates in the... That's right, the Jose Quintana deal.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know where you were going with that.
Yeah.
Wasn't it another reliever? Gallegos wasn't the one?
No, Gallegos was...
Not Gallegos. What's the other one? Cabrera.
Genesis Cabrera. Yeah, he may have forced the issue.
Genesis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was not a contract thing.
Yeah, well.
That wasn't a let's get the contract off the books. That was a let's get the human being off the books.
You guys miss the barber?
Jamie does. Jamie loved that guy.
I thought it was a great story. You know, guys over at Great Clips cutting hair one day, and the next day he's pitching in the minors or in the majors. Sorry,
could be you.
Could be you. Stick with it, man. You just never know.
You know what stinks about this day?
What's that?
Because we've been crapping all over the starting pitching. We really haven't talked about that big home run that Pozo hit on Saturday.
Were you thinking that because he also has an interesting story in which he was
that is part of it. That's why I brought it up.
Out of his car because there's living in it.
Living in his car.
That is a remarkable story.
Doing Uber Eats. And how did they even get a hold of this?
I don't know. You talk about the grit and like absolute grit of a human being.
Yeah, it's just
well done, Poso.
An amazing story. It's crazy.
All right. What would you do if you were Mo and you got this problem of Fedde and Mikolas? Now, you may say what we all say, just wave them. But there's a bit of an issue with that. That's next to 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. If you missed anything from today's show, including our discussions about Miles Mikolas and Eric Fedde. We also talk about the Blues. If you missed any of those conversations, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's 101 ESPN mobile app. Just head to the podcast page and you'll find all of our shows there. It's all brought to you by the Schaefer Door Company. JJ Weatherholt was promoted to AAA, so congratulations to JJ Weatherholt. Also, the Cardinals are not playing tonight. They'll play tomorrow. They'll take on the Washington Nationals. Andre Palante will be on the mound. First pitch is at 6:45. The Cardinals are one game back in that for the last wild card spot, and they dropped 2 of 3 this past weekend against the Cubs. 11-0 was the score last night on Sunday Night Baseball. So if you're John Mozeliak, what do you do? What do you do with this team with the trade deadline approaching? We're going to discuss that next right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
On 101 ESPN. If you were John Mozeliak, what would you do with Miles Mikolas and Eric Fedde? It's been the big topic of conversation today, of course. Now, many of you would probably just say what several of us said today, which is just DFA them, put them on waivers, walk away. But Jamie, as you know, it's not as easy as that from an organizational structure.
Yeah.
We're also not excusing. I want this to be clear. We're not excusing the fact that the Cardinals are in this spot.
No.
They're in this spot because they fast laned up.
They did this to themselves.
Over the years. They did this to themselves.
Yeah.
But the farm system isn't ripe with talent that's ready to come up.
Yeah. It's the fact that they're not built up enough yet to handle the starting role. And I guess you could try and piece together some of those things. Like my idea a while back was, Steven Matz, because I don't know how stretched out Steven Matz is to even be a guy in the rotation anymore.
Right.
But he can give you 3 to 4 innings. And if maybe it's Steven Matz for 3 to 4 innings, and then you hand the ball off to Graceffo for 2 to 3 innings, and then you get to your bullpen, so that 2 players become 1 starter. It's not the best way to do it. And I think that the Cardinals are in a spot right now where they're going to have to choose Fedde or Mikolas, one of them, to DFA. And I think the other one you're going to have to live with at this point. And I think that financially, the best bet is just to DFA Eric Fedde. Because if you have to pay a guy to sit at home, it's a lot less than paying Miles Mikolas to sit at home. And I think that they're both in and around the same performance, I guess. Mm-hmm. And then you call up McGreevy and you give him an extended look in that one spot, the Eric Fedde spot. And then if Miles Mikolas continues to just play the way he is, then you can swap him and Steven Matz then.
I'm with you. It'd be a little tough to do both right now just because your organizational depth is awful. And again, the Cardinals did this to themselves. I would go Mikolas. You go Fedde, I go Mikolas. Because I think that Fedde...
If I'm the DeWitts, though, and I'm staring at John Mozeliak in the face and Chaim Bloom, and they're telling me we have to DFA one of these 2 players, being a money guy like the DeWitts, be like, I'm paying this guy $17 million. I don't care. Put him in the damn bullpen. Let him sit there. Make sure he's doing practice and all. I want to know that my money is actually, I feel somewhat okay with it. The 7.5, whatever it is now at this point of the season, I'm okay with watching that guy sit at home. Mm-hmm. That's the only reason. I'm not even basing it off of performance.
Right. I hear you. I don't think any of them. I don't think either of us has any sort of trade value. But if I'm rolling the dice on one, I'm praying that Eric Fedde figures it out before the deadline and some stupid team comes a calling.
I don't think it's that difficult. You do have Steven Matz, who has pitched in the starting role this year.
Mm-hmm.
They've gone to a 6-man rotation. He has pitched. You could easily move on from one of those guys, slide Steven Matz into that starter's role, and bring back one of the guys that has already pitched in the bullpen this year.
The problem is if Matz gets hurt. That's
the big problem.
That's the problem. If somebody gets hurt, your organization depth is so thin because you have mucked this up.
Then you have Michael McGreevy. If Matz gets hurt, to me.
So wait,
you're basing this off of. I'm saying put Matz in the rotation, and you bring up one of those guys.
Matz in lieu of.
Pick one, Fedde or Mikolas.
No, you pick one. You're Mo.
I don't care.
You're Mo.
Hang on. I want to find out.
I don't care.
I want to
play the game, Carey.
I'm trying to play the game here too, Anthony.
Fedde.
Thank you.
Okay, so you're DFAing Fedde.
Mm-hmm.
You're promoting Matz to the rotation.
Yes.
You're leaving Mikolas in the rotation.
Yes.
Okay.
For now.
And then you're saying if someone gets hurt, then go to McGreevy.
Correct.
Okay. What if Mikolas continues to be terrible for you?
Then go to McGreevy. What's the difference between that and
what
him
if somebody
being
gets hurt?
By then, I pray to God we're at the end of the season already.
Yeah, I'm just playing the game. Like if I was in the front office sitting there with you and we're in the conference room, this is the game I'd play with you because we'd have to figure out what the hell our actual path is.
The other path is pitch those two gentlemen every fifth day and lose. And if you're cool, I'm cool. You don't give a damn. No, we don't give a,
Mm-hmm.
So my question, what would you do if you're John Mozeliak? It doesn't really start with the Fedde and Mikolas conversation. That is definitely part of it. But now I'm looking at the trade deadline. Are you going to be a buyer with two just non-factors in your starting rotation? Because you can't tell me that you are a playoff team and going to be a buyer unless you're getting another starting pitcher to then get rid of those guys. You're not going to convince me. And are you keeping Ryan Helsley? Mm-hmm. Again, I'm not taking you seriously as a playoff contender with those two guys in your rotation.
Yeah.
Are you holding on to him because you think you are? Because right now I don't think you are with those two guys in your starting rotation. You can't compete, at least in my opinion, winning maybe 3 out of 5 games. Because at this point, they're 2 losses. They are.
You're absolutely right. This front office is hedging its bets. Again, they're waiting until the final 72 hours before the July 31st deadline to decide. They'll just push this off and push this off. They refuse to commit. They buying, they selling, they holding. Let's wait and see.
We get a question here from the 618. Do you fast track Quinn Matthews for Fedde? But Anthony, you and I were talking about this in the break. It's not like hockey where you got a guy that's a little bit inexperienced, but he's playing 15 to 20 minutes a game. His body can handle it.
Right.
Quinn Matthews is not built up to be an every 5-day starter in the major leagues.
Mm-hmm.
So that becomes an issue then of one, you're constantly filling the hole when he gets out of the game, and then also you're putting him at risk.
Yeah.
But again, all roads lead back to the fact that you don't have the proper depth in your organization.
Right.
I think another issue that we've completely glossed over today is that the Cardinals cannot hit left-handed pitching.
Yeah.
And they continue to prove that. That's another aspect of this. Are you going to be a playoff team if you can't hit left-handers?
Right. No. Probably not.
So then are you going to try and get a right-handed bat? Because, again, you have 2, in my opinion, non-factors in your starting rotation.
Mm-hmm.
You're just going to out-hit your problems?
No. Not in the playoffs.
Not with this team.
No. Nope. Do you feel better now?
I think he feels worse, actually.
I don't think any of us feel really good.
I think his stomach is turning.
All right.
I am a little hungry.
Yeah, I'm getting there, too.
I'm kind of hungry. Well, I had a pretty decent lunch, too.
Let's wrap up the show. Let's go get something to eat.
Oh, yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, we learned 3 stars
pork
today.
Tonight.
Pulled pork.
Pork sandwiches tonight, yeah.
Wow. Like sliders, or?
Yeah.
You got that? You got the slow cooker going?
Yeah, I should put it all in the slow cooker. Come home. The house smells like heaven.
Oh, man.
And fire some of that black eye bourbon barbecue sauce.
Yeah, you will. The Jamie Berry Rivers black eye barbecue sauce. We'll wrap up the show next on 101 ESPN.
All right, St. Louis, if you're out there right now, you're thinking about selling your home, don't make the mistake of picking an agent that doesn't quite understand the landscape of the St. Louis area or some of the different price ranges. You have to go with the best, and that's Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria has been in the business for over 20 years, and she understands the landscape of St. Louis and the counties and the zip codes and all that. And the one thing that sellers make the biggest mistake on is the pricing of their home. You either price it too high and it sits on the market forever, and then you got to lower your price. It looks bad. It's not great for sales. Or you price it too low and you leave money on the table because people buy it so quickly. Don't guess at it. Call Gloria Liu. Talk to her about it. She's going to price your house accordingly so that, one, you sell quickly, but you sell for the most money as well. She's been in the business for a long time. She's got a database with thousands of buyers where there's a huge percentage that will fall right into your price range. So please pick up the phone, call Gloria Liu, tell her Jamie Rivers sent you in. Her number's 314-325-6888. Again, that's 314-325-6888. Or you can always visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
you missed anything from today's show, you can always download the podcast available at 101ESPN.com or on your Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's 101 ESPN mobile app. All the podcasts, of course, brought to you by Shave Door Company. Time to find out what everybody learned today, starting off with Jamie Rivers.
What I learned today is Netflix coming back with a new season of quarterback. Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, Kirky Cousins is back, baby.
Good.
They loved him so much the first time. They brought him back for more. I cannot wait to see behind the curtain now for Kirky Cousins.
You know, there's the Madden cover curse, right?
You think the quarterback?
There's also the quarterback curse.
Patrick Mahomes won a Super Bowl after him.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but Marcus Mariota was on the first quarterback.
This is true.
And he was cut midseason by
the Falcons.
The Falcons, yeah. Yep. So if you're on quarterback and you're on that show and you play for the Falcons, probably need a new job soon.
Well, that should be good news for you then.
Kirky?
Yeah.
No, I want him to rot on the bench.
Oh, that's rude.
Don't you want to watch him?
Watch him do what?
Quarterback.
Play football.
No, on Netflix.
No.
Well, this will be interesting because this is from this past season.
Yeah.
Not mistaken.
Should go well.
Be very
No,
entertaining.
but the drama, Anthony.
Yeah.
He's excited.
I am. I'm excited. I'll watch.
Yeah.
Carey, what'd you learn?
I learned that Zach Bolduc didn't go to college.
No, he did not.
Jamie wanted us all to know that was not a college. It was a prep school.
He was pissed.
Somebody got fired because of it.
What's a prep school? It's a high school. That's not college.
Yeah. Well, it's actually like the year
college
after
prep.
high school.
No, prep school in the States is just like college. You go there.
Here?
Yeah, where he went in Woonsocket, out there in Massachusetts, that is prep school, is like high school. It's not like an in-betweener.
Yeah.
It's not.
Year
It's
after.
not.
It's a gap year.
No, it's not. He was in 10th grade.
See? He's upset.
Is that a gap year? Was that a gap year for
Very
you, Carey?
upset. Yeah, I told you.
I took a gap year between 10th and 11th, between sophomore and junior.
Yeah. Marsh,
was your gap year between junior and senior?
No, I never took a gap year.
Imagine that. You could have if you went to prep school.
I'd rather go to
Sorry.
classic public school. I learned that Carey continues to not like Pedro Paez.
I don't dislike Pedro. I don't dislike him. I just want him to do his job of catching the ball. I don't dislike him. I don't know him to dislike him personally. True. I don't like that he doesn't catch the ball all the time.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
I don't like that.
I learned that even if we say that the Cardinals probably won't spend any money, some listeners will leave us a mic drop and say that we said they will spend money. Marshy.
It's time for the Fast Lane's 3 Stars of the Day. Presented by Circus Sports Illinois. Sports betting the way it should be.
Our third star of the day goes out to that bench that Carey claims he's sitting on.
Yep. Sitting on the bench watching you guys ride the roller coaster.
Oh, okay.
You came off the bench pretty damn quickly.
I was hot today. I told you they didn't have my fireworks at Navy Pier. Damn Wrigley Field stole all of them.
Blame Oli Marmol for that.
Don't blame Oli.
Second star of the day goes out to Jamie's Grill. Making the pulled pork, the sliders, made some good burgers and dogs this weekend. Definitely needed those.
Nice. Yeah, we call those. We call that the sponge dinner.
Yeah.
After an afternoon of drinking. And, like, what can I make quickly that can just sop up? And we did it. We got there, Marshy.
We did. And our first star of the day goes out to the Binky Ferry.
Yes. Good luck to everyone with the Binky Ferry.
There you go. All right, for Andrew Marsh, for Carey Davis, for Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter. Appreciate everybody listening and watching. We'll be back tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Have a great night. See you.